Alexa, play Nickelback radio. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Look at this face. Today we're going to go over Gary Sutton again, the Sutton case, exhibit analysis summary. Let me share this out. I need to share. If you're coming in, just tap the screen. Let me know in the comments where you're coming in from. Let me know you're here so I know. See if it's working. Hey, Judy. Volume up. Let's see, I'm still sharing. We're going over Gary Wayne Sutton exhibit analysis today. After Mama T's live last night, I spent hours till I finally went to bed going over a lot of the exhibits and breaking them down into what they actually mean in layman's terms. Thank you. Who was that? I can't see the screen. I see Tracy Lynn, though. I saw that. Thank you. It popped up beside this little square. Back porch, I see you coming in. If you guys don't care, share. Let's make comments. Tell me where you're from. Let's tell the algorithm, hey, we're here. Thank you for the populars. Pretty sure. Good morning, Barbara. What? Hey, Christy. Thank you. I didn't see it. Good morning, Issa. I didn't see you either. Everybody, I'm sorry that I missed everything. I was sharing it out. Roll call. Who's here? Say here. I'm here. Good morning. Alexa, volume 3. Tracy's here. Issa's here. Ellen with the corgi butt. The heart farts are the best way to get started. And with coffee. Thank you, Christy. Megan's here. Missouri here. Judy. Thank you for the heart me's and the things. We've got 183 shares already. I got to get Eddie in here. We're going to go over Gary Sutton, all of a bunch of the exhibits, analysis, summary. Stick around. Tap the screen. Let's get it all shared out. Let's get that 10,000 taps in 10 minutes. And I'm at 21% pay. So we need to work on getting me to a 40% pay. And then we'll get started. Back porch is here. Look, today's shirt is brought to you by, I'm too tired for this. Too tired for this. Thank you for the follow. I can't get the shirt in there. And I can't work backwards. Thank you for the follow. Everybody knows what to do. I appreciate you coming in here doing it. Let's get this party started. Daddy is improving. Some, slowly. He has decided to pick up the phone and look at the phone finally. Thank you. Thank you. I can make anything you want. And one day I was just too tired for this, and I thought, I need a shirt. Barbara, a.k.a. Lolly, I missed your live this morning. I've been in therapy. White, straight, Republican male. How else can I piss you off today? Oh, my gosh. Thank you. Let's see. Eddie, come in here and do something. There's my live, and we'll get the taper going, but first I'm going to share it out, and you can do that, and it's free, and it'll help me out, and just send it to all of those. You just hold that screen and do all those sends. Boo! Boo! I'm just going straight down the line. We had I don't even know if we've surpassed 1,400 shares yet, but the all-time high I remember is 1,400 shares. And that's that number down there on that share arrow where you go and repost. Hey, Tina. Good morning. Got your coffee ready? We're about to break down the exhibits in the Gary Wayne Sutton trial. What did I miss? Somebody said, good morning, Tiff. I'm doing that share, that send, hold the screen. Thank you for the heart, me. I appreciate you. Tina with the populars. We're going to be popular. Let's see. Yes, good morning, bestie. We've missed you. Popular live already, guys. It says the populars are going. Let me put this up here. This is where we are at. This is where we need to be. We want diamonds. We just want diamonds. That's all we want is diamonds. Taps, shares, people, new followers. How you missed me when I've been here. Ah, you been quiet, girl. It's like you're not here if you're not talking. We're going to discuss Gary Wayne Sutton exhibits. Says you can manage AI summaries and settings. Good morning, bestie. Let's see, we got 9.6K at 6 minutes. That's amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if we could reset. Junebug. Hi, Cheryl. Barbara's so worried about. Oh, thank you, Junebug, for the heart. Me too. I'm okay. I'm okay. I get that way from time to time, better than speaking what's on my mind. Sometimes it is best to back off. But you have us if you need us. Good morning, everyone. Ellen says, go up here, touch that, then this button, and do this, this, and this. Yes. And you can't hide it. We know. Thanks for the follow, Eddie. Yep, we do notice. Hey, Brent. Good morning. 200 minutes, Junebug. Thank you for being here. It's a concern, but I'm okay. You leveled up, Junebug. Well, I'm glad you're okay. We just worry. We just love you. I had to withdraw to process. Sometimes I just have to be by myself. I had to clean every little nook and cranny I could find and stay busy. My hands and my brain had to stay busy, though. Already, whoa, 12. Whoa, at 8 minutes. Keep it going. Whoop, whoop. Let's just not stop. Hey, Susan. Christy's tapping it. Junebug, I am. I'm okay. It's been hard. It's been really hard. This is us is concerned, right? It's love, yeah. I was worried about my daddy, and he's home now and starting to improve, and all of that happened 3 days after I lost my sister, and that was really hard. But I had to take a couple or three, I don't even know how many days it was, actually. I just had to be by myself with no noise, no sound, no music, because everything was just like, ugh. And then I just had to, I got to where I could breathe a little better each day, and it'll be okay. Okay. Thank you, Junebug. I still need those. I still need those. Alexa, next. That's too heck banging for my head. I'm going to reset this tapper down to a decent number, but you have to go all the way around on this one. Now, I do have this one if you guys need a tapper. This one is the best. It's cordless, rechargeable, and I put that on my other phone. Thank you, Junebug, for the TGIF. The repost, Mars Mom, Christina says, yes, I know, and I appreciate y'all more than I can say. And Heart Me, Megan, thank you. Now they'll throw a flash goal for Hartmey's probably. Oh, I'm on 31 taps there. I didn't finish going around the block. And the populars, thank you. If you have a number, we dropped from 101 active fans to 83 from yesterday. Thank you. It'll be all right, but leaving for work soon. Didn't want to forget. Thank you. The shares, thank you, thank you. Let's see, I need to do that. I did that on Eddie. I need to repost though. Okay, now he can sit over here and be quiet. Now today, thank you guys for doing all the things. I appreciate it. We do have a live goal today. We have one contributor in there, Ellen. There'll be 13 spots. We have 13 in the room. Imagine that, 13. It's going to be a good day. Ellen's number 1. Back Porch Confessions number 2. Christy, you got number 3. Junebug 4. Christina, Megan, Mars, Mom, Judy, Tracy, Lynn, Eddie, Issa, RN. Come on in. Come on in. Alexa, volume down. Thank you for the hi, friend. Another busy day. That'll go fast then. Yes, please scan that if you need anything. That'll take you to. Thank you for the corgi butt. Christy, that was you. Thank you. Thomas, come on in. Come on in. We're going to talk about the Gary Wayne Sutton case again today, and we need your help to get it spread out. We need to spread the news. Is it Friday? Happy Friday, guys. Fun Friday. I didn't even know what day it was. Oh, RN, come on in, huh? You leveled up, Christy. Thank you. Hey, Nate. No, he just went live. Have y'all seen Nate in a while? Mars Mom, thank you for tapping. Okay, now last night after Friday, girly, breaking down Gary Wayne Sutton trial. So come on in, join the discussion. There's Carolyn. We're going to break down some of the exhibits today after you've not seen him. Thank you, Megan, for the shares. We're up to 254. After Mama T's live last night, my adrenaline was pumping, so I had to research and do a whole lot of looking into the Dropbox. And I got all of the little exhibits, or part of them, and broke down into like layman's terms to where we could understand. And just a summary of it, and then we'll get into it, is Exhibit 134 and 135, investigator narratives. Not verbatim statements. This is what I found. Not signed by Gary Wayne Sutton. Nothing was signed by him. It had rewritten summaries for a hearsay layer. Thank you, Mississippi Mud Flapper. I appreciate you. And Back Porch is still sharing. Oh, she just was going over the transcript and stuff, which I need to put the address for the... Will the sticker hold an address for the petition? Thank you for the repost. Ellen for the heart me. I appreciate it. We got 283 on that arrow. Reposts and shares is what makes that number go up. And that's the most important thing you can do in a live. And it's free. So if we could get that number up, we've made it as high as 1,400 shares before. That'll be 1,400 different chances to get this story on out too. I don't think it will. Don't think what will. I got lost for a minute. This is just the summary. And that exhibit 134 and 135 is evidence of the state narrative shaping. A board. I see. I'm not going to mess with the board. I never have figured out the freaking boards. And then the key findings. Sutton consistently denies involvement, mentions third parties and the unknown female, introduces drug-related alternative theories. Yeah. We could do the number, though. Has anybody called the governor yet today? I never can find the right spot for that. No. Background boards, stickers. 615-741. Option 1. Alexa, stop. It's not going to let me do that. Who said? Well, I didn't put option 1 in it, but I've been on calls all morning. So I had to call the pharmacy. I had to get up and go take the kids to school. Have to run. Oh, you have a good day. Thank you for checking in on me, Junebug. You guys, if you don't have Junebug, you need to. I don't know why you don't. So go pick her up. I met her in Miss Barbara Lawley's sunrises, and I missed Lawley's sunrise this morning. You have a good day, Junebug, and I really appreciate the prayers. And he didn't confess at any stage. Take something and ward it off. Eat something, maybe. Thank you, hon. Aw. I just love her, and I always love that. That's how I like to start my day. Hey, Mama Crow, come on in. We're going over Gary Sutton case exhibit analyses. This is the summary, and then we're going to get into it. The investigative concerns were psychological pressure. They told him to do some soul searching. Selective inclusion of unverified claims into the record. Narrative written into the official version. Yeah, don't claim it. Don't put it out there. And that's at Exhibit 135. We'll go over how they did all that. The legal weakness is there is no recorded interview. There is no signed statement. And officer interpretation was presented as if it was facts. Drink some orange juice, take some vitamin C, zinc, elderberry, Zofran. I don't want you to get sick. Don't let it happen. And then Exhibit 109 was the chain of custody. There were multiple transfers across agencies. The items were repeatedly removed and returned, and it opens the integrity challenges to the chain of custody. And Exhibit 126 was time of death factors. The rigor mortis, the lividity, the blood characteristics, the lack of decomp, and the microscopic changes. Hey, Longhorn. Angie, come on in. So the strategic conclusion, the state's case shows early alternative theories, no confession, and reliance on reconstructed narratives rather than any direct evidence. And the core argument, they didn't document what they said. They documented what they believed. You've been drinking a lot of water, took a Finnegan. That'll put you to sleep again. Megan, thank you for tapping. Let's see. Hours. I worked on it for hours. Okay, I started out with the TBI. I don't know if that'll zero in. Oh, okay. The Forensic Service Crime Report, Crime Lab. So I went through that whole thing, and I wanted it explained into layman's terms. So Chad says, here's a clean courtroom level breakdown of Exhibit 88, if you want to follow along in the Dropbox. Not to mention, let's see. What you mean, Mississippi Mud Flapper? I got lost again. And so this Exhibit 88, what it actually is the TBI lab report, March 12, 1992. Yeah. That'll be in another section. We all know about the lawyer. Okay. It documents the shell casings, the bullets or the pellets, out of the shot pew, the buckshot, the wadding, the inside the shotgun shell, and the firearms itself. All collected from multiple locations tied to the scene and nearby areas. So the big picture in plain English, they collected a lot of ammunition evidence from different places and then tried to answer, did all of this come from the same gun or different guns? Where the evidence came from, you need to emphasize this part, it says, it matters. Shells and evidence were collected from Dellinger's yard, Dellinger's driveway, the front yard, inside the house, kitchen cabinet, bedroom closet, outside trash can in Sevier County, Gray's yard, another location, and from the victim, Tommy Griffin. That's multiple locations, not one controlled scene. The types of weapons identified was the shot pew evidence, mostly 12-gauge shells. Brands were Remington, Winchester, and Federal. And then the rifle evidence was the .303 British rifle, bolt action Lithgow manufactured it. So there are at least two weapon types, the shot pew and the rifle. Critical findings, and what matters most, is that some shells were linked to the same gun. The lab says multiple shell casings from different locations were microscopically matched and fired from the same firearm. Specifically, crime scene shells, some from yards, trash, and other areas, matched. Translation, they're saying some of these shells match each other, meaning they came from the same shot pew. But not everything was tested. Repeated throughout this report says no examination performed. And this appears on the rifle cartridges, the cases, some of the shot pew casings, and items inside the house. A large portion of the evidence was never even tested at all. Why not? There were mixed calibers and gauges. You got 12-gauge shot pew shells. They got 20-gauge shot pews. They had a .357. They had .30-06, and they had the .303 British. That's multiple different weapons and ammo types in the same case. It is not a clean single weapon crime scene. It's mixed. No latent prints were recovered. They attempted fingerprint processing on all shell casings, but the results were no latent prints. No physical link at all to any person. The victim evidence, which is very important, from the victim was the shot pew wad and pellets, double-aught buck. Only 2 of the pellets were recovered. Double-aught buckshot is a typical shot pew load. Thank you for sharing, Mars Mom. Hey, Moon, Wolf. Ahead of my words. So the victim was shot with a shot pew, but that alone doesn't identify who fired it. Buy a box of shells and you can buy the same box, right? It says that it was a shot pew, but it doesn't say who fired it. There's nothing there. No fingerprint evidence, nothing. And the weakness, evidence from multiple locations mixed together. Thank you all. It's me, Margaret. Thank you for the heart me. Thank you for the shares. We've got that up to 358 on that arrow now. If we could get that up past 1,400, it'll be our all-time high. Good morning. We're going over Gary Wayne Sutton's exhibit analyses. And this is the TBI Crime Lab report broken down. With evidence from multiple locations mixed together, such as the yard, the trash can, the house, and other property, raises the chain of custody and contamination questions. 2, not all evidence was examined. So, it says in there some items were not tested at all. They picked and chose what to test. There were multiple weapons types present, shot pew, rifle, and different calibers. This weakens a single pew-pew narrative. No fingerprints, no direct tie to a person, no DNA. At least they didn't document it, if there was. Matching shells don't equal identifying the shooter. Even when they say shells match, that only proves that the same gun was used. It doesn't prove who held the gun. And here I'm just talking it out. This report sounds technical, but the truth is they found shells from all over the place. Teresa, come on in. They found shells from yards, trash cans, inside the house, and only tested some of them. Yes, some shells matched the same gun, but they never proved who fired it. There were multiple weapons involved, shot pew, rifle, different calibers, so this is not a clean single weapon case, according to that. And the biggest issue, no fingerprints and no direct link to any person at all. So the report shows some ballistic matching between shells, but there's no direct connection to Gary. They didn't test everything. They mixed evidence sources, and they listed multiple weapons were involved. And then this document, the Cobb Superior Court felony sentence, I wanted that in layman's terms. This document is completely different from Exhibit 88, and it's actually a very important context evidence. What this document is the Cobb Superior Court felony sentence from Georgia whenever he was, it was State versus Gary, an aggravated assault in 1983, that they admitted what happened there. Gary entered a guilty plea. The court accepted the plea and sentenced him, and the fine was $750, probation, structured payments noted, and there's a line about confinement, but it appears either suspended or modified into probation. Monthly probation fee, $10 a month. He was not sent away long term. This was handled largely as a probationary sentence with fines. What it means legally is there was a prior conviction in 83 in a different state, Georgia, for aggravated assault. What it doesn't mean, it doesn't prove anything about the 92 case directly, or that he committed a later crime, or that the weapons in Exhibit 88 are tied to this case at all. How it's typically used by the prosecutors is to show prior bad acts, to build the narrative of a violent history, influence sentencing or jury's perception, especially in serious cases. They use this to paint a picture of who they say he is. The strategic weakness, it was 9 years earlier. It's a very long gap. It was a different state, different circumstances. Georgia versus Tennessee, completely separate incident. It was resolved with probation and fine, not a severe prison sentence, and that matters when assessing severity. There was no connection shown to current evidence, no link to the weapons, the crime scene evidence, or the victim. So this document is from 1983. almost a decade before the case we're talking about. Yes, he pled guilty to aggravated assault, but it was handled with a fine and probation. There's no connection in this document to the crime scene evidence we just went over. So why is it in there? Sandra, do you need something? This is the kind of thing prosecutors use to influence how someone is viewed, not to prove what happened in the actual case. It shows history of violence, not proof. So it establishes a prior aggravated assault conviction, but it does not have a forensic link to the later crime, no connections to weapons or evidence, and no proof of involvement in the 1992 case. And then I went to this one. It has all what this is. It's a precedence report. And it's one of the most powerful and the most dangerous documents in a case like this because it shapes how the court sees the defendant, not just what happened. What this document is, State of Tennessee Precedence Report, prepared in 93, Sevier County Circuit Court, Judge Rex Henry Ogle. This is not evidence of a crime itself. It is a background report used before sentencing. And what it does, this document tells the judge who they think this person is. Do y'all care to put stickers and stuff in the chat? Please. Pretty please. If you're just coming in, we're going over Gary Wayne Sutton exhibits. This is the document that tells the judge who they think this person is. It includes his personal information, arrest details, criminal history, opinions from law enforcement, and what charges are pending. Thank you, guys. If we can get it moving, that'll push us out. Every 10,000 here, and all the chat and all the shares get us pushed out. And we got 13 in here, my lucky number. We can spread the word. So critical section 1, current charges listed as first-degree murder and arson, 2 counts. These are listed as presentment, the instant offense. They are allegations at this stage, and they're not proven facts inside this document. Critical section 2, no mitigating factors. It says, no enhancing factors filed, no mitigating factors filed. This is huge. What that means, the defense did not present anything to reduce sentence severity, or it wasn't documented anyway. The report says there were no mitigating factors, meaning nothing was formally presented to humanize or explain the circumstances at all. Critical section 3, prior record list. This is where things get heavy, and you need to handle it carefully. It says, what's listed? Assaults, DUI, vandalism, reckless endangerment, license violations, theft-related charges, and the Georgia aggravated assault charge. But here's the key detail. Many of the entries show that they were dismissed, no true bill, charges were dropped, or amended to lesser charges. I'm going to pin that up there. So that means a large portion of that whole list was not even convictions. So the report lists everything, not just convictions, and that includes charges that were dismissed, dropped, or never even proven. The critical section 4 is language bias. This line matters. The defendant is known to local law enforcement officers. That is subjective. It's not evidence, and it's not tied to a specific crime. That's opinion language, not proof. Yeah, just keep the chat rolling with the governor's number, the links to the petition, free Gary Wayne hashtags, tag people. Critical section 5, Education and background. 8th grade education, lifelong local resident, worked as a carpenter, and is currently jailed. We're going to that one too. I've got his curriculum vitae that I'm going to break down and go over the longer exhibits when I have more space to work with. 8th grade education, lifelong resident, worked as a carpenter. This is supposed to give context, but notice, no trauma history, no mental health details, no social context at all. So that ties back to no mitigating factors. They didn't enter any of that. So that ties back to his ID claim now, right? Critical section 6, death penalty notice. It says, notice to seek death penalty has been filed. That means the state was actively pursuing the death penalty. Thank you, it's me, Margaret, for putting all of those facts in there. Everybody keep an eye on those facts in case you're new and you don't know about the case. The biggest takeaways, this is not evidence of guilt. It's a summary of background and allegation. It mixes proven convictions, dismissed charges, and allegations only, all in one list. Odie, thank you for the green heart. It admits that there were no mitigating factors presented. That's a major defense gap. It uses subjective language like known to law enforcement. Thank you for tapping. It was built to influence sentencing, not to prove the case. This document is not proof of a crime. It is precedence report. Yes. And was laid on both of his retrial things. Yeah. They had evidence they built a case around. It lists everything, though. Convictions, dismissed charges, and allegations. So if you just read it straight, it makes someone look far worse than what they've actually been proven. And most important, it says no mitigating factors were presented, meaning the court never got the full picture of the man's life. Some comments were filtered. Wonder what that was. Connecting all three of the documents, which is very important, now tying them together. Exhibit 88 is ballistics, equals a weak forensic link to any person. The Georgia conviction, which is an old, unrelated prior. And the precedence report building a negative narrative without any proof. No, they didn't. The evidence tries to prove what happened. This report tries to tell you who to believe did it. So in the next one, this one is, well, I couldn't even tell you what it is by looking at it, but it's Exhibit 23. It's that one. And it's another piece that looks official and serious, but when you break it down, it's just administrative history and still not proof of a crime. And I'll give it to you tight, accurate. You know the facts. No, they didn't. This is an FBI NCIC Interstate Identification Index report. It was pulled on February the 27th, 1992, requested by law enforcement detective Widener. What that means, basically, a nationwide criminal history database printout. It pulled his arrest records, any identifiers like height, weight, scars, etc., and if he has multiple state history. What's on the report is his identifying info, Gary Wayne, date of birth, height, eyes, birthplace, just ID confirmation, nothing about the crime. FBI number and tracking, which shows how agencies track a person across the states. His arrest history, Tennessee, the felonious assault arrest and larceny, 88 and 89. In Georgia, 83, bad checks, 2 counts, 83, aggravated assault. These are arrests, charges, not outcomes. In any way. Clinical detail most people miss is arrested or received. That does not mean convicted or found guilty. It only means this person was taken into custody or processed. Important limitation built into the document literally says this record is based only on FBI number. Additions or deletions may be made at any time. So to translate that, it says it can be incomplete, it can be outdated, and it requires verification from original agencies. So what it's used for, to identify a suspect, check prior contact with police, and locate records in other states, not to prove guilt in court. Strategic weakness to this: arrests don't equal convictions. The report does not show outcomes clearly. No context of dismissal, pleas, or acquittals. No connection to the crime. No mention of murder, ballistics, crime scene. No, they weren't. Incomplete. Even the report admits it may not be final. Thank you for the heart, me, Angie. Thank you. Easily misleading. When you read out loud, it can sound like, look at all these charges. But in reality, it's just raw police contact history. This is an FBI criminal history printout, basically a database search. It shows arrests, not outcomes. So when you see charges listed here, that does not mean he was convicted. Thank you. This document is used to track people, not to prove what happened in a case. Thank you. It's a record of contact with law enforcement ever, and it's not proof of guilt. A go. All I see is a go. What's that? Tabby, thank you. So then we connect it back to the other documents, and we've got Exhibit 88, the ballistics. No link to any person at all, no fingerprints. Precedence report was where they built the narrative and shows bias. Georgia conviction, old prior, and Exhibit 23, this one is arrest history database. So they show you background, they show you history, and they show you allegations, but none of these documents still prove who pulled the trigger. Exhibit 33. This one, it's different from the others. It's not forensic. It's not background. This is the dispatch call log evidence. On this fact alone, this case should have been tossed. Exactly. This call log evidence is messy and easy to misread. So I'll clean it up for you so you can explain it clearly and confidently. So that's what we're doing. Good morning, John B. Welcome in, everybody. Anybody new here? We're talking about the Gary Wayne Sutton case. We're going over the exhibits and what the analysis is of each exhibit, put in layman's terms to where I could understand it. Good morning. What this document is the Sevier County Sheriff's Dispatch Incident Report Sheet dated February 21st, 1992. It tracks 911 calls, dispatch times, the responding units, and the notes from the dispatchers. What we're looking at simplified, think of it like a timeline of emergency calls and responses that night. I mean, it's just like the list. Key things are multiple calls. This is important. You can clearly see second call, multiple entries with times, different names and locations. This is not one clean call response. There were multiple events happening and being reported on this sheet. Times, visible times were around 21:02 or 9:02 p.m. dispatched. 21:05 to 21:07 units arrived, and 21:10 call was complete. That gives a very tight response window from 9:02 to 9:10. That's 8 minutes. Different names and locations. You see entries like Griffin, Tommy Griffin, victim. Another name, Boyd Branham, appears below. Different roads and different addresses. Thank you, Angie. That suggests multiple call sources or multiple scenes or related but separate reports. Thank you. Good morning, Lolly. I'm so sorry I missed your live this morning. Transfer to SPD, second call. The handwritten note. That means call was handed off. Another agency involved, likely the Sevier County Police Department. This was not handled in one continuous chain. There was a mix of agencies. You can see sheriff, fire, and ambulance, standard for serious incident, but combined with multiple calls, it's a complex scene and not a simple narrative. Oh, I'm sorry I made you worry. Junebug came in and said that I did. I'm sorry. I was in therapy this morning. I had to be in therapy this morning. So if you're all new coming in, we're just analyzing the exhibits on Gary Wayne Sutton case. And this is the governor's number if you haven't made your call. Look, we're at 87 to get a frag. Cool. Diamonds. We've got 458 shares already. If you hold down on that screen and do all those sins, that number goes up. We've made it to 1,400 before. We have 17 in the room. Anybody with a number is engaged in here, please pick them up. You can check in the gift gallery over here. We have Tabby K, Back Porch, Amazing Grace, Barbara Lawley, Megan, Issa, and Back Porch, Tabby. You can pick everybody up in there, and you can pick anybody up here. Thank you. You just became the title gifter. I think that closed my gallery. Thank you. Got the cheap gallery now. I appreciate you. Okay. Thank you. Piffle Sniff in the house. Thank you so much. We're going over Gary Wayne. Okay, so this call log matters because it's timeline complexity. It's not one call, not one response, not one clear sequence. It's layered. Good morning. Have you got your coffee? How do you like my coffee cup? You too can have your coffee cup. Okay. So it raises questions like who called first? What was reported initially? Thank you. No. Where did you send it, honey? Yeah, there's a tumbler like it too. If you want. Couple of kinds. 30 ounce, 20 ounce. So it doesn't say who called first. Just let me know where to go look, Piffle Sniff. I'm sorry. Little butterfly. Okay, let me look real quick. Maybe I just haven't been in there. Opened it. Since I've been on TikTok, I'm worse about getting over there like I should. Thank you for bringing it up. Yeah. Sure. Still shopping. What do you mean? Let me take a screenshot of that. I just need the details, size and color. Thank you very much. Just let me know. I can work on the design itself later and send you a copy of it. Oh, okay. Okay. I'll work on that design, though, and get it sent to you for approval and make sure I can get it like you like it, because I'll have to recreate it. But I love doing that. I love design. Thank you. Keep me on my toes, girl. Keep me on my toes. Tay Love. Tay Love. I just wanna be sincere. She's in there too. Yeah, I just now got them all. Thank you so much. Just been a little preoccupied, I guess. Sorry. Usually I'm really on top of things. So, with multiple call entries like this on this 911 thing, it raises the questions like who called first, what was the first report initially, and did the story change in between calls? Tiny Donnie.
Thank you for the tiny Donnie roar. 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 I've lost count. Thank you for the tiny Donnie roar. Is that enough? Forgot. I couldn't count and do it at the same time. Oh, let me get that down.
Got to give the Tiny Donnie roars. Thank you for the heart made beauty, Irish beauty. Welcome in. We're talking about Gary Wayne Sutton, and I'm going over the exhibits that were in the case and trying to break it down through the help of ChatGPT into layman's terms. So if you've got the Dropbox and you see all of these pieces of paper now, this is breaking them down into what I can understand. No. Mm-mm. So transfers between agencies also. That gives a potential for a miscommunication, information loss, and delays or confusion. Handwritten notes versus the system data. Some info is typed by the system. Some is handwritten after the fact, which can create inconsistencies and interpretation issues in the 911 call logs. What it doesn't show is who committed the crime, any forensic evidence or confession or witness statement. It only shows what was called in and when responders moved, and it took 8 minutes. Thank you for the laughing tacos. I don't know how to do a laughing taco. Wonder if there is a voice effect. Let's see. Dispatcher is the first one on scene and decides who to send and when. Yeah, they're not on scene. They're at 911 and decides who to send and when. But it's not clear. This is the basically the 911 timeline. Oh, okay. And right away you can see something important. Oh, my butterfly. Thank you, Tabby. I love my butterflies. I need to get my dill planted. So you can see something important. There wasn't just one call, there were multiple. You've got a second call, transfers between agencies, and different locations showing up. Are you? So this wasn't one clean, straightforward response. It was layered and it was complex. The timeline isn't clean, and that matters. And how this fits with the other exhibits, like we break them down and then put them together. Now you've got a powerful narrative. The Exhibit 33 equals the messy multi-call timeline. Exhibit 88, mixed ballistic evidence. Exhibit 23, arrest history, no proof of anything. And the precedence report is just shaping the narrative. So the timeline's messy, the evidence is mixed, and the background is being used to tell a story, but none of it proves who did it. So then next we have Exhibit 38, and this is Alvin and Claybo. It's this one. This is a witness statement, an interview transcript, and it matters a lot more than the others because it's the closest thing we've been to so far in this to someone describing what they saw that night. but it has serious reliability issues. And you can clearly explain, is what it says to me. What this document is, Exhibit 38, witness interview, Alvin, questioned by Claybo and McCarter. This is not physical evidence, and it's an eyewitness testimony. Thank you all for keeping that chat moving and sharing. We're up to 459 shares. What this witness is claiming, there was a truck pulled into a driveway on the left side, identified as James Dellinger's driveway, and the lights were off. Witness says he heard or saw, I got a puzzle piece. Am I not moving enough? That he heard or saw fire shot out the door, turned and looked toward Tommy Griffin's and saw fire. So the truck he saw, it turned off. Shortly after, fire was seen. Timing, very important. Witness repeatedly says it wasn't no time, about a minute, give or take seconds. Translation, extremely rough estimate, nowhere near precise. So did he see a person? Which is critical. He says did not see anyone get out of the truck. Later he says door was halfway open, someone got in it. But he admits I didn't see from coming, is how he put it. And that means he did not actually see a person. Clearly. The truck identification, he says it looked like a white Dodge truck. Says he had seen it before all the time and thinks it belongs to James Dillinger. But he uses language like, I believe, and I believe, yeah, and it is not certain. I'm sorry, Chief. I don't want to battle right now. Thank you. The major weakness, and this is key, no direct identification of a person. He never said, I saw Gary Sutton or James Dellinger or any person clearly, only a truck. Assumptions instead of observations. He says somebody got in it, but admits he didn't actually see them. That's inference, not observation. Timeline is vague. He would say about a minute, no time at all, give or take seconds. That's unreliable for sequencing events. Hey, Tracy, welcome in. We're going over Gary Wayne's exhibits. Identification of the truck is uncertain. He says, I believe or I think, so it's not definitive. The lighting and visibility issues. He said the truck cut its lights off, so that makes identification harder and observation weaker. What this testimony actually proved, at most, was a truck was in the area around the time of the fire, and that's all. What it does not prove, who was in the truck, who fired anything, who started the fire, or that Sutton and Dellinger were present. This witness never identifies a person, only a truck, and even then he says, I believe, not that he knows for sure. He didn't see anyone get out, didn't see anyone get in. He's filling in the gaps. And the timeline, he says about a minute, give or take seconds. That's not precise. This is guesswork around a truck, not the identification of a person. And then connecting this back to our others, this is the narrative. Exhibit 38, this one. Weak eyewitness, no person identified. Exhibit 88, ballistics, no person identified. Exhibit 23, arrest record, not proof, and precedence report was building a narrative bias. No witnesses put a person there, no forensics tie a person to a weapon, and the rest is background used to fill in blanks. This is Exhibit 41. We're analyzing the exhibits on the Gary Wayne Sutton case and breaking them down into layman's terms. Comment any facts, any links, any theories. For the people who are new, let's see, we're not getting people in here. We've only had 176 people. come through the room, and 3 new followers. I need people, if you can, to reset. Just go up here and push my picture, and then go to the bottom and hit the little people, and then unfollow and refollow, and then set your notifications to all. And that'll give me the extra followers. We're at 39.5% pay. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Barb. Barbara, Barb, and Barb, thank you. We're having a Barb Day. Thank you for the follows. I appreciate that. That put us up to 40, I think. Yeah, that's 40%. But we've had 179 people in here. Judy, thank you for sharing. Mama Crow, I saw you. So let's break this one down. Anybody have any questions about what we've already covered? Or any comments? I appreciate y'all keeping the chat moving. That's what'll get the story out. Oh, look, 624 more diamonds. This 2. That would close up the D1. Cool. Thank you, Back Porch. I always love my corgis. I know you have, Angie. I know you have. You always do. Thank you all. You're always taking care of me. I just like to remind you every once in a while. I appreciate you for real. I appreciate every one of you just being here. Just being here for me, period. Putting up with me. Hey, Bernadette. Come on in. Judy, thank you for resetting. I got allergy in my throat, guys. I'm sorry. I must be dehydrated. It's real raspy. Okay, this Exhibit 41 is the one, excuse me, reset. This is Exhibit 41, and this one is very specific and very important because it deals with the victim, Tommy Griffin, right around the time of the incident. Let's break it down cleanly so we can explain it without overreach. What it is Blount County Sheriff's Department intake booking form. It's a jail intake record for Tommy Griffin, the victim. It's dated 2/21, same day as the incident. And what it shows as core facts is he was arrested that day for public intoxication around 19:10 p.m., which is 7:10 p.m., by Alcoa Police Department. So the victim had recent contact with law enforcement hours before the incident. He was released the same night at 23:25, which is 11:25 p.m. on a cash bond, which places him back out in the community that same night. DV4D arrested. Okay. Physical condition notes, very important here. Dried blood, small amount behind left ear. Had a wooden leg, right side from knee down. This matters a lot. Blood was noted before the crime event window. He already had the blood behind his left ear. Raises questions about when that injury occurred. Did it happen in an earlier altercation? Was that what happened now on Alcoa Highway? Who did it? It impacts mobility and the ability to flee or defend as far as his amputee, wooden leg. And why this document's important? It establishes victim's condition before the incident. It's not speculation, it's actually documented. He already had blood on him and was intoxicated. There's a timeline overlap issue. We now have he was arrested at 7:10 p.m. He was released at 11:25 p.m. And at 9 p.m. from the dispatch logs was the incident activity. That's when he was arrested in jail already. That creates a timeline conflict I need to clarify carefully. Either time needs reconciliation or multiple events are being interpreted incorrectly in that. Possible prior injury. Yes, ma'am. Gary and James. So blood behind the ears suggests that he's had a fall, a fight, or injury prior to the alleged crime that can complicate cause of injury narratives. Victim impairment, public intoxication means his judgment was impaired and coordination impaired, which is important for timeline reconstruction, witness reliability, and movement analysis. But I want to go right back to this timeline. So he was arrested at 7:10 p.m. and was released at 11:25 p.m. What were they looking at 9 p.m. from the dispatch logs and the incident activity? The incident that they're putting in as evidence. Anyway, it does not prove cause of death, who injured him, or when the fatality or the fatal injury occurred. This is the victim's jail intake form from the same day. He was arrested for public intoxication around 7 p.m. and released that night. But here's what stands out. Officers documented dried blood behind his ear before anything happened later. So now you have to ask, when did that injury actually occur? What was the 911 9 o'clock incident? The victim already had injuries before the timeline that we were being told is the timeline of his injuries. Connecting it with other exhibits, now your narrative gets stronger. Exhibit 41, this one. Victim had prior injury plus intoxication. Exhibit 33, messy timeline with multiple calls. Exhibit 38, weak eyewitness, no persons identified. And the ballistics on 88 don't identify a person. Hey, Santa, come on in. We're going over Gary Wayne Sutton. The timeline isn't clean. The witness doesn't identify anyone, and the forensics don't tie to a person. And now we see the victim clearly had injuries before even anything unfolded after he got out of jail. Next, we have Exhibit 43. This is like a handwritten diary type exhibit. Thank you all for keeping the chat rolling. I appreciate it. This one is very different from everything else. It's not police work. It's not lab work. It's not witness interview. It is a personal handwritten journal diary entry. Turn it off. Chief again. That changes how it should be interpreted, okay? Oh, Dina, thank you. New title gifter of the roses. All that helps. Every little bitty tiny rose helps. Every popular everything. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this document is a handwritten diary journal and it appears to be from someone named Jason Michael based on the signature. Who is Jason Michael? The dates shown are 2/21, 2/22, 2/24, and 2/25 of 1992. So it's a running personal account written around the time of the events. Piffle Sniff, thank you. Leveled up to 7. All of that. Oh, all that love. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. What it says, key parts. 2/21 was the day of the incident. Key line circled. I just heard 2 or 3 gunshots down the hill around 9 p.m. That's important because it places gunshots heard around 9 p.m. Matches roughly with dispatch timing on Exhibit 33, 9 p.m. This part stands out. Schmurder or suicide, body found down at river. This shows the writer is speculating, doesn't know what happened yet. Also, driving for weapon tonight. That line is ambiguous and sensitive, and it could mean he was hunting or looking for something or something else all entirely, but you should not overstate this. It's just clear that he said, driving for weapon tonight. whatever that means. I called police about the shots I heard last Friday on the 25th. That confirms this person is likely the caller reporting or a witness. What it actually does, it confirms shots were heard around 9 p.m. by someone in the area. Liars go to hell, Scotty. No, I blocked peace. Can someone go unblock that word, please? Why won't it delete? I blocked it and muted it, and it's still there for me. So this supports the timeline on the dispatch logs. Right. Thank you. Shows uncertainty early on. Question mark murder, question mark suicide. Even people close to the situation didn't know what happened initially. And witnesses have recanted. Not an eyewitness to the act. The rider heard shots and did not see the shooting. Thank you so much for the stickers. Clinical limitation or critical limitations, very important. This is not sworn testimony. It's no oath, no cross-examine, no verification. It's personal thoughts, feelings, speculations, and opinions, not all of its factual reporting. And more than Lester Johnson was alternate suspects. Okay, they heard pew-pew shots the same night Tommy was arrested and it's the same night. And it was when Tommy was in jail. He went to jail at 7, got out at 11:30, and it was at 9. It happened at 9 while he was in jail. Not sure I think this was a guy. I'm not sure. Let me see. Okay, again, right here, it's not factual reporting. Now, driving for a weapon is unclear. Cannot assume criminal meaning and no context was provided. Okay, good. Does not identify suspect. There are no names and no person was seen. Thank you for the heart, me. I appreciate that, bitch. Hey. Talking about Gary Wayne Sutton. This is a personal journal entry from someone in the area. They heard gunshots around 9 p.m., which lines up with the dispatch logs. Oh, you have a good appointment. I wish I could go get relief, but I'll just get on the table. I love my chiropractor's appointments. Thank you, Odie. But they didn't see anything, and even days later, they were still guessing what happened. So this tells us something happened, but not who did it. It confirms the sound of gunshots, not the identity of the shooter. I know. Connecting everything now back to it. This is the strongest moment. We have Exhibit 43, this one, which confirms shots heard but no suspect. Exhibit 38, witness is a truck but no person. Exhibit 33 has a messy timeline. And Exhibit 88, ballistics don't point to any person at all. And 41, victim had prior injury on his left ear with blood, dry blood. You have gunshots, you have a truck, you have a timeline, but nowhere in these documents do you have someone clearly identified as a person who did this or allegedly did this. The more I research, yeah! Wait till we get into some of the transcripts. If you're not watching Mama T when she's reading those. Okay, the next one here is Exhibit 49, and it is another handwritten. It's basically just them rewriting it neater. But it says, Exhibit 49 is essentially a duplicate, cleaner copy of Exhibit 43, the same handwritten journal entry. Caught a few of them. Yeah. So the key is not to treat this as new evidence, but what it adds, which is very little, versus what it repeats a lot. It's a handwritten journal entry, same writer as Exhibit 43, same time frame. It is redundant documentation, likely introduced to improve the readability and preserve a clearer copy for court. What it says, the most important repeated line, I just heard 2 or 3 gunshots down the hill around 9 p.m. What it adds, it confirms consistency, which is the same wording, same timeline, same account of hearing the shots, which tells you the statement didn't change, at least in this version. Still only heard, not saw. Nothing changed. No visual identification, no person described, and no vehicle here. And still a person is writing. It's a diary, not a sworn statement, and not cross-examined. It does not add new facts. Thank you. I appreciate that, Chrissy. You've changed your name again, dang. No suspect identification, no physical evidence, no timeline clarification beyond around 9 p.m. Thank you very much. Hey, Susan. Thank you for tapping, Brittany. This is basically the same journal entry we already saw, just another copy, and it confirms the person heard gunshots around 9. But again, they didn't see anything. They didn't identify anyone. Same story, same limitation, sound, no sight. Thank you for stickers, running the chat. Why it matters strategically, when the same type of evidence is repeated, it can feel stronger to a jury, but in reality, it's still the same limitation repeated, not new proof. And connecting everything together again, now very clear, we have Exhibit 49 and 43 where they heard gunshots, no person. Exhibit 38, saw a truck, no person. Exhibit 88, shells matched, but no person. And Exhibit 41, victim's condition, unclear timeline. Hey, Grant. Welcome in, Big Papa. Welcome to our guests, Chrissy and Grant. If you don't have them, pick them up and be sure you pick everybody up with a number they've engaged in the room. We have a live goal today. We've got 3 of 13 in there that their names are in there. You can pick them up. If they're not in the room, they'll be there. Thank you for the heart, me. We're going over Gary Wayne Sutton. Innocent man on death row, convicted for a crime. There's no evidence. Hey, Zoe, thank you. I appreciate you so much. Ashley, thank you for reposting the popular, Zoe. Right here's the number of shares we've had today on the arrow, 564. If you want to hold the screen and send to all those people, we'll get this story out. Our highest number is 1,400 shares. Thank you. Thank you for those populars. That helps. And you get double engagement points when you do the populars. So if you got a number by your heart here, those are for you. Those are your points. Pick them up, collect them, claim them, whatever. So you can repeat the same type of evidence as many times as you want, but it never identifies a person, ever. So now, Exhibit 50 is another handwritten something. It's essentially the same journal content again, just another reproduced copy. Different scan, different crop of the entries we saw in Exhibit 43 and 49. So the right way to handle it is not to treat it as new evidence, but explain what repeated copies do and don't change. So it's still a handwritten journal, diary pages, same writer, same dates, and it's redundant, not a new source. It still repeats the key point, same wording. The account didn't change across any of the versions, but it still only talks about hearing the gunshots and not seeing anything or anybody. But the same speculation remains in there. Thank you for the corgi. I missed it. Thank you. And now she'll be there for when she has to go to work or whatever and has to leave the room, but you'll still be able to find her. It speculates murder or suicide. It's emotional, personal writing, still not a factual determination. It does not add a new witness, new observations, suspect identification, or forensic details. Thank you for the reposts and the tabs. Why multiple copies show up? This matters for how jurors and viewers perceive. Repetition effect. Seeing it multiple times can feel like it's more evidence, but in reality, it's the same statement repeated over and over. This is another copy of the same journal. It confirms the person heard shots at 9, but it doesn't show who fired them. 3 copies of the same note, but still only the one observation. If you're new in here, we're analyzing exhibits on a wrongful conviction. Gary Wayne Sutton. Woo! Hey, Amira. Good morning, Leanne. Welcome, everybody. You're new on TikTok. How long? Y'all want to help her out? She's new on TikTok. Full case connection, now very clear. You can now present clearly journals, exhibits 43, 49, and 50. Good morning, Reese's for Pieces. I love Reese's Pieces. They heard the gunshots. No visual, no suspect. Exhibit 38, the witness. Saw a truck, but no person. Exhibit 88, ballistics. Shells match each other, but no person. No fingerprints. Timeline, Exhibit 33. Multiple calls, but not clean. Victim intake, Exhibit 41. Pre-existing blood behind the ear before the atrocity. So, you can show the same note 3 different ways, but it still only proves the one thing. Someone heard gunshots. And hearing something is not the same as proving who did it. So then this one is Exhibit 51. It's the drawing of the scene. It's just a drawing rendering. Good morning. Welcome in, everyone, and happy Friday. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, Angie. Welcome, everybody. BIO first, and then get to know the room. Yeah, go in and get you a BIO. Tell about yourself. Where when you click the name, it'll tell something there. So this is Exhibit 51 is the crime scene diagram sketch, and it's important because it shows how investigators believe the scene was laid out. Wording here. But remember, it's an interpretation. It's not raw evidence. It is a hand-drawn, reconstructed scene diagram about the road, hills, river, creek, terrain, key locations labeled with numbers and letters, and evidence placement. There's also a legend to the right to explain what each marker means. What the diagram is trying to show, here's where everything was found and how it fits together spatially. Key elements, even though it's faint, you can make out the road, the driveway area, the markers, likely where the vehicle activity occurred, and some shell casings were found. It's a wooded creek, river area, trees and slopes shown, area labeled near water, likely where the body was found. Evidence markers in the legend show body location, spent shells, shotgun shells, possible waddings and pellets, and each number and letter correspond to a specific piece of evidence. And then the legend includes the distances, like how many feet from the road and feet between the items, and it's important because it suggests the spacing between the evidence pieces. What it's used for in court, it helps the jurors visualize the scene. Thank you. We're almost 100K. Yay! Suggests a sequence of events, and it supports theories like where the shots were fired from and the movement of the people. The critical limitations, it is not the actual crime scene. It's a representation drawn after the fact. It depends on interpretation. Someone decided where to place the items, how to connect them, and that introduces potential bias or assumptions. It does not identify a person. Even though it looks detailed, it does not show who was there or who fired anything. Evidence placement does not equal timeline certainty. Just because items are placed doesn't prove order of events or the exact movements. Thank you. Thank you for the heart me. The strategic weakness. Combine this with Exhibit 88, evidence is spread out across multiple areas, some from the yard, some from the road, trash, different locations. So this clean diagram may oversimplify a messy, multi-source scene. This is the crime scene diagram, basically how investigators map everything out, and it shows where items were found, shells, body, location, but it's a reconstruction, not the actual scene as it happened. And even here, it does not show who did anything, just where things ended up. Hey, Lee. It shows where things were found, not who put them there or how they got there. And connecting this with everything else, and this is strong, tying it all together, Exhibit 51, this one, layout of the evidence, no person. Exhibit 88, shells match, no person. 38, witness sees a truck, but no person. How's everybody doing today? The journals heard shots, but no person. You have a map, you have shells, you have sounds, you have a truck, but none of it actually puts a person in the act. No DNA. No fingerprints. Not even on the bullets. You know how when you load a pew-pew, you have to touch them? That leaves your fingerprints on there? No prints. You know when you pick them up to put them in? No prints. This one is Exhibit 57. Right. This one is a written witness statement, but it's very different in tone and detail. Hey, Ozzy, come on in. Yeah, witnesses have recanted, especially after Heather went and interviewed them. Thanks for the follow, Press Secretary Ash. Come on in. We are going over the case of Gary Wayne Sutton, a wrongful conviction, sentenced to death December the 3rd. We're trying to save his life, and we're going over the exhibits in the case and how ridiculous that he was even charged. Is she? Thanks for bringing her in. I appreciate you. Thank you for the heart me. We got a great group of people here. We got 22 over here. Anyone with a number is engaged in the room. Pick them up, make friends with them. We've got great friends here. Yay! If you want to share it too to people so we can get the word on out, just hold the screen and send to all of those. We're trying to get, our goal is past 1,400 shares. We have 570. Right. Never even should have been charged. Yay! 100K! Keep it going. Keep it going. Thank you all for tapping. I appreciate it. And those shares. Those are the most important thing you can do in my room or in this case. Thank you. This statement actually sounds stronger than it is, so I'm just going to warn you. What this document is a handwritten statement given to the Sheriff's Department, dated March the 1st. Right, Press Secretary. From a witness, the name appears to be Barbara London. And this is the one of them that recanted, didn't it? She claimed she saw a white truck. Right. It was just a hatchet job altogether. Saw a white truck pass the front of the house, then looked out the window, saw the truck going around a bend. Details given were short bed truck, solid white, tinted black window, black tires, look like mud tires, no letters, no markings. Yes, we are his voice. We're his only voice right now. Exactly. And we're getting more and more people involved, and it's amazing. Possible person, she says, I could see was the back of a guy in a truck. That's important. She does not identify the person. Good morning, Jeep Girl. Welcome in. Welcome back. Only sees the back of someone, assuming it was a man. Later identification attempt, she says she was asked by the Sheriff's Department to look at a truck. And I feel this is the truck I seen. Key phrase, I feel. Major weakness, no person identified. She never says who the person was. She didn't describe any facial features or any identifying characteristics, only that it was the back of a guy. The vehicle description's generic. It's a white truck, no markings, no letters, standard features, describes thousands of white trucks. The identification is subjective. I feel this is the truck. Not, I know, I'm certain, yeah, that's the truck. It's opinion-based identification after being shown the picture. The time gap issue. She saw a truck and then later was shown the truck picture by police before her testimony, yes. That introduces memory contamination and suggested bias. There's no connection to a crime act. She doesn't say she saw a shooting or a fire or anyone commit anything. What it does prove, at most, is the white truck was in the area at some point. That's it. What it doesn't prove was who was driving, that the truck is linked to the crime. Reminds me of the scene from Twister. Auntie with a heartbeat, thank you. It does not prove that Sutton was the one involved in, or James, and that any crime occurred at that moment at all. This witness saw a white truck, but only the back of someone's head inside. She doesn't identify a person, and when asked later, she says, I feel it's the same truck, not that she knows it is. And the description, a plain white truck with no markings. That's extremely common. She identifies a type of truck, not a person. Connecting to the other evidence. Again, let's bring it all back. Now, this locks in. Exhibit 57, this one. White truck, no person. Exhibit 38, truck again, no person. Journals, shots heard, no person. Yeah, it is. Exhibit 88, shells, no person, no prints. Exhibit 51, scene laid out, no person. Every path leads to a truck, but none of it leads to a person. Now, this one is another handwritten Exhibit 59. Or did I accidentally hit it again? Yeah, this is it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mindy. Good morning. Thank you for goodies. I appreciate you. Yeah, how awful. Can you even begin to imagine? Hello. Thank you. I've missed everybody too. I'm glad to be back. Thank you for the shares and the reposts. Look at her. She's going down the line, doing the things. So Exhibit 59, and this one's actually one of the more important witness statements because it tries to build a timeline plus vehicle connection plus the fire observation all in one. But when we break it down carefully, it has major gaps and assumptions that we can clearly explain. What it is a handwritten witness statement from Barbara London, again, taken 2/24. So this is a post-event recollection, not real-time observation. And she claims, night of February 22nd, day of incident, she says around 8 to 8:30 p.m., she heard a high-pitched noise in the woods. She looked and saw fire in the woods. And then she passed it off as probably campers. So at the time, she didn't even think it was going to be a crime. Next morning, February 23rd, she says around 10:30 to 11 a.m., saw a white truck with big tires coming out of the woods, moving at a fast speed. Now, this one is on the Connie. This one's Connie. I'm pretty sure I didn't clarify that. And then looked out the kitchen window and saw it go out around a bend. Patty Hamilton, come on in. You are the next contestant in Cheryl's Always Right. Thank you for the club cheers. She saw it appeared to be a man in a vehicle. That's not identification. It's just assumption based on appearance. She doesn't even know it was a man. So she told her husband later, and the husband later contacted the authorities. The major weakness. Always. Thank you. How freaking cute is that? Thank you, ma'am. So, timing mismatch. Fire scene at 8 to 8:30. It's so cute. Truck scene at 10:30 to 11 next morning. That's a 12 plus hour gap. No direct connection between the truck and the fire. Assumption linking events. She saw a fire last night and she saw a truck next morning. That connects them mentally. Then she connects them mentally. But there's no direct observation tying them together at all. No person identified. It appeared to be a man. That's not a confirmed identity or even a clear visual. It was a generic vehicle again. White truck, big tires, very common. Initial interpretation was innocent. She originally thought maybe campers. That shows that she didn't think there was an immediate suspicion or had context uncertainty. What the statement actually proves is there was a fire scene in the woods that night. A white truck was seen the next morning. What it does not prove was that the truck caused the fire, that the truck was there during the fire, who was driving the truck, or that Sutton or James were involved at all. This witness saw a fire that night but didn't think it was a crime then. Then the next morning, she saw a white truck come out of the woods. But there's a big gap in time, and she never saw the truck at the time of the fire. So the connection between the truck and the fire is just an assumption on her part and not something she actually witnessed. She saw a fire. The next day, she saw a truck. Not at the same time. And then going back to connect everything again, your full picture so far is this exhibit, a fire at night, a truck the next day, no direct link. White truck, no person. Another white truck, no person. Journaled shots heard, no person. Ballistic shells point to no person. Thank you for tapping, Crystal. So every piece points to a truck, but none of it points that the truck none of it puts that truck at the moment of the crime, and none of it puts a person behind it. Hey, Kathy, good morning. And so then I started taking the bigger exhibits. This is exhibit 62, and it's 20 pages. And I decided I was just going to start doing bigger exhibits like later on after I did a few of these. This exhibit changes the tone of the case, but not in the way most people think. Let's break it down. Exhibit 62 is actually a curriculum vitae of Dr. William Bass, a forensic anthropologist. Well, lost my page. Lost my page. Now I gotta pee. I told you I went hours deep into this last night. Anybody have any questions or comments? Let's take a break and let me go to pee. To pee or not to pee. Y'all want to talk about it? Anybody want to come up, talk about it? Where are you, Margaret?
Come on. Don't be hard-headed. Come on. You want a treat? Yeah, I got your fat ass moving.
I'm going to run to the restroom. I'll be back if you guys. Thank you, Crystal. Keep the chat rolling, and just chat amongst yourselves, and I'll be able to hear you, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Thank you.
We can chat amongst ourselves.
What do you think about it so far?
Oh, this whole case, this whole thing. We shouldn't even be having to sit here to do this. Gary should be out. Never should have been behind bars in the first place. And he became a pawn in their game to protect their own asses. That's my 2 cents. Anybody else have a 2 cents? And I feel either the Eddie guy did it or the Lester guy did it. But because the court system keeps trying to keep him in there and the attorney was shitty and she was working for them as well, my heart leans toward Lester because he was the one putting money in their pockets due to his extracurricular activities. And maybe Eddie was paid to burn the trailer. I don't know. But yeah. That's my assessment. What about you, Tina? You have an opinion?
What's that?
I said, do you have an opinion?
On what? Sorry, I've been dozing in now. I didn't sleep good last night. Ask again.
I was just asking you what your opinion was on this Gary thing.
Oh, I think he got the shaft.
Pretty fresh.
Plain and simple.
Railroaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad when the public can see it and the law is blind to it. They're not blind to it. They didn't
not
want to
blind
see
to
it. They just didn't want to see it. It was by design.
Yep.
So this exhibit 62 is the curriculum vitae of Dr. William Bass, a forensic anthropologist, founder of the University of Tennessee's Body Farm, extremely well qualified expert on paper. What the state is doing here, this exhibit is not evidence of the crime. Still, this is just an exhibit screwed with no Vaseline. It is a credential building for an expert witness, which I did his, but when I got to Charles Harlan's, I called it a night last night. I didn't even want to go into it. So in court terms, a qualifying the expert. They're telling the jury he's educated, PhD, anthropology, he's experienced with decades of field work, he's respected with the awards and publications and consulting roles. He works with the TBI, law enforcement, and military recovery operations.
Blah, blah, blah.
This is Dr. Bass. What this does not do is prove a time of death, prove a cause of death, place Sutton at the scene, link any physical evidence to Sutton. It's only saying, trust this man when he testifies.
Yeah.
This is where we get strategic. Because earlier, we already identified Dr. Charles Harlan issues, timeline concerns, and weak physical links. Now it comes in as, here's our expert, believe him. The real question you should ask, is Dr. Bass qualified? He clearly is. But instead, what exactly did he base his conclusions on? Because expert testimony is only as strong as the data he was given, the condition of the remains, and the methods used in 1992. Key weakness is expertise does not equal accuracy.
It does not.
Good. I had just gone and I just read the book. Did you get it too? Dr. Bass is world renowned. Do you have the Dr. Charles Harlan book? That might help you too. So expertise does not equal accuracy. Even top experts can be wrong if. There you go. Evidence is incomplete, scene is contaminated, timeline is assumed, or other experts like Harlan fed them bad input. 1992 forensics limitations at that time, no modern DNA profiling like today, burn analysis less advanced, and time of death estimates far less precise, especially with fire damage and environmental exposure. The chain of interpretation, if Bass relied on scene reports, medical examiner input, and law enforcement assumptions, then any flaw upstream contaminates his conclusions. What it means for the case? Authority building, not proof. It's designed to make the jury think the science must be solid. Joyce Watkins' case. Even strong credentials don't fix weak evidence. This entire exhibit isn't evidence, it's his resume. They're not proving what happened, they're trying to prove you should trust the person telling you what happened. But credentials don't make conclusions true, evidence does. A strong resume cannot fix weak evidence. Now stack everything together again. Witnesses, vague and inconsistent. The truck, never tied to one person. You have a good day too, Megan. I call bullshit too. Truck, never tied to a person. Timeline has gaps. Physical evidence is not directly linked to Gary. Hey, Reverend Kelly, come on in. And then you insert an expert. Add the prosecution at the time is now hoping the expert will fill in those gaps. The exhibit tells us on a final take, the case leans heavily on expert interpretation. And when a case depends on that, you don't attack the expert's resume, you attack what they're given to work with. So what was he given? What did he base everything on? What did he testify to? And then we have the identifying of Connie, Exhibit 63. Now this exhibit matters. This is where the science actually touches the case and where it can be challenged. What it says plainly, this is an actual forensic anthropology report from Dr. Bass, March the 11th of 92. His key findings were metal fragments in the body, found deep in muscle, deltoid muscle, described as silver-colored metal fragments, not burned. The conclusion drawn was a possible gunshot wound to the left shoulder before the fire in the car. The fire did not cause these fragments. The fragments were embedded in the tissue, not surface contamination, and not heat damaged. So they ruled out debris from the car burning. The remains identified Connie Branham, and the method was ante-mortem dental record comparison. Yes, 100%. This exhibit is powerful, but not airtight. Let's dissect it like you would in a courtroom. Issue 1, possible gunshot. The wording matters. It suggests possible gunshot, not definitive. It does not confirm, and it doesn't have a projectile recovered or matched. It's an interpretation, not a ballistic conclusion. You want down? Love you, Paula. I can't get her down. It won't do it. Why does this do this to me? Somebody got Mars Mom. Thank you. All right, honey. So issue 2, where are the bullets? They say metal fragments found. But do we ever see a caliber identified, a weapon that was matched to, any trajectory analysis, or any bullet recovered intact? We found metal, and we think it might be from a pew-pew, they said. It's not the same as this person was shot with X weapon from a Y distance. Issue 3, fire plus damage context. You're dealing with burned remains, tissue destruction, fragmentation, environmental contamination. Even Dr. Bass acknowledges heavy damage, tissue removal, and debris involvement. That introduces distortion of wound patterns, movement of fragments, and interpretation uncertainty. Issue 4 is the timeline gap, even if there was a gunshot. This report does not tell you when it happened, where it happened, who did it, or whether the victim was alive at the time of the fire. Issue 5, identification relies on dental. This is important. They say, positively identified as Connie Branham based on dental comparison. That's standard. But dental ID depends on the quality of the ante-mortem records, accuracy of the comparison, and the condition of the remains. Who performed the dental comparison? Was it independently verified? And were the records completed? Biggest strategic point, this exhibit does 2 things for the prosecution. It establishes the identity and suggests violence before the fire. That's critical for them. It turns this from fire death into homicide before arson. But here's the gap. Even if both are true, it's Connie, and she may have been shot. Hey, Susan. There is still no direct link to Gary, no weapon tied to Gary, no forensic transfer evidence, no timeline placing him there. You don't fight the whole report. You narrow it down.
Just the fact that he had a relationship with her at one point.
That's it. Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
Your
That's the
strongest
connection.
angle.
Yeah. That I've picked up. Yeah.
And the possible is not proven. The state's own expert didn't say she was shot. He said it was possible.
Yeah.
If you're new in here, we're debating the reality of expert testimony in Gary Wayne Sutton case. So come on in. Hey, Real Talk, come on in. Let's get this message out. Innocent man on death row sentenced to death to be put to death on December 3rd if we don't save his life.
Yeah. I have a therapy call at 12,
Okay.
so I'll have to jump down in a little bit.
Okay. That's
11 your time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no weapon match, no gun, no caliber, no match, just fragments. Science stops at the body. This report tells us something happened to her, but it does not tell us who did it. Thank you for the heart me. Thank you so much. He's got coins. He's got coins. He spent a coin on me. Thank you, Brent. So this is where science ends and then the assumptions begin. Connection to your case strategy. Now stack it. Witness, vague. Truck, unidentified driver. Timeline, loose. Forensics, possible gunshot. And then conviction requires filling the gaps with a narrative and no proof. So, very important detail. They say that the fragments were not burned. That's used to argue pre-fire injury. But you can push. Not burned does not definitively equal pre-fire. Yes. Depends on the location in the tissue, shielding from the heat, and fire dynamics. And they assumed then it was this metal. Final take. This exhibit is strong on identification, moderate on injury interpretation, and weak on linking it to a suspect. And then we have this one, which is Exhibit 64. This one's critical because it directly undercuts certainty. Exhibit 64, what really says, this is a letter from Dr. Bill Bass to the district attorney September the 11th of 92. Same expert the state relied on. The most important line in this entire document says, none of us can find any clear evidence of cause of death. Let that sit. Not unclear but likely this or consistent with a gunshot, but literally No clear evidence of cause of death. This creates a direct conflict. Now compare what we have. Exhibit 63 in the earlier report is a possible gunshot wound, metallic fragments, suggestive pre-fire injury. Exhibit 64, this letter states, no clear cause of death. Fire destroyed evidence. Even after reconstruction, still nothing definitive. I know. That's huge because it means the state's own expert could not confirm how she died. Thank you, Judy, for the roses. All of those stack up. Every little bit. One step at a time. What Bass is actually saying, read between the lines, he tells the DA the skull was reconstructed, multiple experts reviewed it, extensive effort was made, but the result still could not determine cause of death. And then adds, I keep going back and looking at it again and again. That's not confidence, it's uncertainty. Issue 1, fire destroyed key evidence. He admits the fire was so hot that any such evidence was destroyed. Thank you, Angie. Translation, you cannot reliably determine a gunshot versus a no gunshot, blunt force versus none, or any exact cause. Issue 2, accelerant opinion. He says, I am positive some accelerant was used. But notice, no lab results cited, no chemical report was referenced, and this is interpretive opinion, not shown here as tested evidence. Issue 3, eliminates accident theory, but not who. He says, not consistent with cigarette fire. That helps prosecution say not accidental, but it still does not tell who started it, when it started, or whether the victim was alive. And the biggest problem for the state here, the letter creates the reasonable doubt pathway. Ba-ding. You now have identity established, fire likely intentional, but you don't have a cause of death, no gunshot confirmed, no definitive pre-fire injury, and no link to any suspects. Your strongest argument, and this is gold, the state's own expert told the prosecutor he could not determine how she died. And even stronger, they told the jury a story, but their own expert told the DA the truth. The legal weight of this in court, and this matters because cause of death is foundational in a homicide case. Thank you, Francisco. Thank you for the follow. If you cannot prove how the death occurred, then proving who caused it becomes exponentially weaker. I mean, how, if you don't know how she died, how do you prove who killed her? Strategic breakdown now stacked. Now look at your full case. Witness, inconsistent. Vehicle, not tied. Timeline, soft. Forensics, possible gunshot. Expert letter, no clear cause of death. They convicted a man of murder when their own expert couldn't even say how she died. Yes, it does, real talk. It sure does. The advanced angle, and very important, it also suggests something else. The prosecution may have emphasized Exhibit 63 and downplayed or buried Exhibit 64, which that causes a credibility issue. So the final take in this exhibit is more important than the CV, more damaging than the possible gunshot because it shows the science never reached certainty in it. Thank you for the TGIFs. It is the entire system. There might be some real good ones, but mostly, if you've not, go look up the Philadelphia experiment. I challenge you to Google the Goog thing and look up the Philadelphia experiment. and then come back. Tell me what you think. One line you should use everywhere here in this case is there's no cause of death, no certainty, no proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Period. Point blank.
Can you drop me?
Okay. Have a good session.
Thank
Well,
you.
I thought I could. Hang on. Barbara, disconnect. I have to go a different route now, huh? Love you, girl. Have a good session. Okay. And then I just went to several small exhibits and I just copied them and wanted it to give me the whole breakdown instead of putting one at a time in more. Love you. This batch you just dropped changes the landscape again, and not in a small way. You now have multiple scientific contradictions inside the state's own case file. I'm going to break this down cleanly so you can use it to strategically understand here. Exhibit 69, accelerant testing. What it says, plain language. Multiple samples taken from the vehicle in the driver's seat, the front seat area, and the interior areas result on all did not reveal any petroleum distillate. No accelerant. Why it matters, this directly conflicts what Dr. Bass said in Exhibit 64, where he says, I am positive some accelerant was used. The lab results say no accelerant was detected. This is a direct scientific contradiction. Not interpretation and not anybody's opinion. Hey, FL Sunflower, welcome in. Florida Sunflower, come on in. This is lab chemistry versus expert opinion. What the jury should have heard was the state's expert said accelerant was used, but the lab found none. What this does to the fire theory, without accelerant, fire origin becomes uncertain, fire intensity explanation weakens, and intent becomes even harder to prove. If you're just coming in, we're breaking down the legal strategy of the case of Gary Wayne Sutton, wrongly convicted of double murder, sentenced to pass away on December 3rd if we don't do something. Not thorough. What do you mean? What this does to the fire theory. Origin becomes uncertain. Not true. What's true? What's not true? The fire theory without accelerant, the origin becomes uncertain, fire intensity explanation weakens, and intent becomes harder to prove. Exhibit 73 is the autopsy of Tommy Griffin. All of that is not true. Tommy Griffin, this is a separate victim but matters because that was Connie. It shows confirmed gunshot wound to the head, pellets were recovered, wadding was recovered, and clear trauma path. This is what a provable gunshot case looks like. And why it's important when you compare Tommy Griffin, a clear gunshot, a physical evidence, and an autopsy confirmation of it. Connie Branham, no confirmed cause of death, just Bass's letter, possible gunshot only, and fire destroyed evidence. That contrast is powerful. In the same case file, they show you what a real gunshot case looks like and then ask you to accept a guess on the other. Exhibit 82 is a TBI request form. This one quietly matters a lot. It shows Sutton and Dellinger tied to the investigation early. Shells submitted for comparison. Timeline narrative written by investigator. But this is not evidence. It's a request/theory document. Hey, Michelle, you too, huh? How are you? Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you being here. Y'all pick Michelle up. She's local here in town. She's a friend of mine. Key problem here. The statement of facts include narrative assumptions, sequence of events, and conclusions before lab results confirm anything. Bloodthirsty, the boxes are for super fans and subscribers. You can go subscribe on my bio, under my bio. Investigators built a story early and then sent evidence off to try to support the story. Hey, Bluegrass Girl, thank you for the heart me. I can't pin that because we're in boxes. Exhibit 75 is the chain of custody for Tommy Griffin. Shows pellets, wadding, and shells. Again, reinforces Tommy Griffin equals strong physical evidence case. Big picture. This is your breakthrough moment. It says, now stack everything. Fire, Bass, accelerant used. Lab, no accelerant. Cause of death, Connie. Bass letter, no clear cause of death. Earlier, possible gunshot. Let's just go ahead. Come on up. Let's do that because I'm already past that. I'll let you explain from a fireman.
Okay, so every vehicle is an accelerant, no matter what. There's
And so was she.
Yes. So
After
the
she
car's
started.
got oil, it's got gas, it's got cloth, it has tires, it's an accelerant. So regardless, they can't say there's no accelerant because there is accelerant there.
But they called it not just accelerant. They called it what was it? An outside accelerant. What did they use the word?
So what they did is they tested for different chemicals or gas to make sure there was not anything added to what's already there.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to do it with accelerants. You can make stuff burn without accelerants.
Well, as soon as she caught fire, that was the biggest fat accelerant there was in there too, and it burned hotter.
And then you're saying about the gunshot, I don't understand it. There's either a hole there or there's not.
That's right. There's too much tissue damage from the burn, according to them, and they concluded it was zinc, not iron, and they assumed it was the metal part of her bra strap. But it was in the deltoid. So look where my bra strap is.
Yes. So
My deltoid's over here.
Yeah.
So, there's so many questions with all of it. So, thank you. Yeah, the whole car is an accelerant, but no added accelerant. Yeah. The autopsy says 2 holes and the report says 1 on Connie's. I haven't gotten to hers, I don't think. I have a form letter that I sent in an email that I'm going to continue to send. Let me see if I can find that and I'll read it to you. And then after I send the email, I make the call and tell them I sent the email and I request follow-up to let me know they documented it. And still I have not heard anything. No, Tommy. Oh, on Tommy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it shows 1 here and 1 on the shoulder, but there's no hole in the shirt and there's only 1 on the other thing. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I do have that. Okay. In the same case file, they show you what a real gunshot wound looks like, and then they accept you to just believe that their guess on the other was right. So the key problem, the statement of facts, narrative assumptions, sequence of events, and conclusions before lab results confirmed anything. They built the story and then they tried to make the evidence fit the story. The chain of custody for Tommy shows the strong evidence case for a gunshot wound. Hey, Aixa, I'm sorry. Did I say hi? I'm so sorry. Good morning. How are you? You all, if you haven't connected with Aixa, she has organic skincares, the best line in the world. If you have no idea about her product, let me know and I'll bring her up to tell you about it. If you do know and you haven't gotten any yet, then what are you doing? Hey, Pam, this is my body butter, and I'm about out totally. So I'm just collecting the last little bit of it. But it's our way skin. Yes, it can. Yes. I'm sorry I didn't even say that. Yes, it can be just simply free Gary Wayne Sutton. Be respectful, be polite, don't want to piss off the governor. Hey, Pam. And I was going to try to find that letter, though, because it's allegedly supposed to give, like, it gives the instructions on how to get the attention to it and not just be overlooked. Is any specific info that needed to be included? And I can't find it right away. Maybe I'll post it. I'll make a video and post the letter if I can find it. Now, I've lost my place again. I'm so sorry.
Squirrel.
Christina's asleep.
No, I'm not.
I heard somebody snoring. You're the only one that has your mic on. Wake it up, make it
He
up.
was so asleep. You could hear it in
That's okay.
Oh, I was. My stomach hurt so bad. Like I felt like I was having labor pains. It's 11. Nope.
He said,
I'm trying to get back to where I was here. I don't know why. If when I move out, it goes all the way to the bottom. Okay, we're not even into the meat of it yet. Gosh, I'm still going back to the top here.
Although, why didn't you mute me when you heard me?
I just was fixing to when I heard you. I said it out
I
loud.
just heard you, honey. You didn't. It
You just
wasn't,
did it for half a
but maybe
second.
one
I wasn't
snore.
into it yet, huh? I just had you laying on my chest listening to you.
And got so relaxed at my voice.
Did. I don't know if it's coming. You know, I'm moving my dosage of medications down on my own. That and my stomach, and I woke up with a sore throat this morning. But until I get that crap out of my system, it's going to be icky.
Oh, yeah. When you do this number, it'll be option 1. It is a voicemail. You just leave a voicemail. Well, thank you. Boring would be another word for it, huh? I hate losing my place. Key problem here. Yeah. And on my YT, I have read The Framed in the Smokies out loud twice, one with all the legal papers and one without. And we've got one of the Gary Tuesday nights where he's on there, episodes on there. If I could read the words right. Thank you. Okay, here I am, I think. Yes. Right. Hadn't even made it to the middle. Okay, why this matters, it directly conflicts with Dr. Bass where he said, I'm positive an accelerant was used, and the lab says no accelerant detected. Lab chemistry versus expert opinion. And what the jury should have heard was that the lab found none. But they probably just heard Dr. Bass was positive there was. The fire origin becomes uncertain, the intensity explanation weakens, and intent becomes harder to prove. And then the autopsy of Tommy. Okay. TBI request form. This one quietly matters. It shows Sutton and Dellinger tied to the investigation early and the shells were submitted for comparison, and the timeline narrative written by the investigator. It's not evidence, it's a request or a theory document. The statement of facts includes narrative assumptions, sequence of events, and conclusions before lab results confirmed anything. So again, investigators built a story around the evidence. They tried to get it to support it. And so the fire. Bass says accelerant used, lab, no accelerant, cause of death, no clear cause of death, earlier possible gunshot wound. Tommy versus Connie. Tommy's is proven, Connie's is speculative. The investigation flow, narrative written early in Exhibit 82, evidence later interpreted to fit the narrative. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Longhorn. Everybody, Longhorn's passing out loveys. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you.
Thank you for the heart me. The core argument, the state built a theory first and then the science never caught up. This line is extremely powerful. They had lab tests that found no accelerant, but still told the jury the fire was intentionally set with an accelerant. They proved one man's death with science, but guessed on Connie's. Legal impact hits multiple reasonable doubt pillars. The cause of death is uncertain. The fire origin is uncertain. Conflicting expert testimony and investigative bias. What we have now, objectively, we're no longer
You
arguing
Longhorn.
wrong person.
Sorry.
We're arguing the science never proved a crime the way that it was presented to the jury. Next move, high value. I didn't ask for it. I just added more exhibits. So these are the next exhibits. Now this set, exhibits 88 through 90, is where the state tries to solidify the firearm narrative. But it actually exposes more weaknesses than it fixes. So step by step, let's tighten this into something we can use in an argument in context. Exhibit 88, firearms and shell comparisons. This is the core ballistics report. I'm sorry. She's been laying down not feeling too good for a minute. She needs to get better.
I get better. Like I said, I think a lot of it's just getting the crap out of my system slowly.
What they actually
Yep.
did, they collected shotgun shells, multiple different locations. Rifle casings, 303, 357, etc. Weapons from Dellinger's residence. Critical findings, many items that they collected weren't even examined. They didn't even look at them. You'll see it repeatedly in the documents. It'll say, no examination performed. This is huge. They collected multiple shell types, multiple calibers, and multiple locations, but they did not test a significant portion of them. The shotgun shell grouping, important. They conclude that certain shells were fired in the same firearm, like the 2006 993s and the 2006 994s and the 2006 978s and the 2006 984s, etc., all fired in the same firearm. Yeah, 303 is a rifle. It's not a shotgun. It's a brass. But here's the problem. That does not identify who fired it. It only says the shells match each other, not a person, not a time, not a specific event. You have a 303? Key limitation. Ballistics here proves the shells came from the same gun. That'd be cool. It does not prove when they were fired, who fired them, or that they were used in the murder at all. Exhibit 90 is the shotgun from Dellinger's house. Now, this is where the state tries to tie it together. What it says, shotgun was recovered, Winchester 1200 12 gauge. Test shells fired from this gun compared to crime scene shells. Result, test shots bear no markings to link them as having been fired in the same firearm. This is massive. Let's say it plainly. The gun they seized does not match the crime scene shells. This is a direct failure of linkage. They had a suspect weapon, physical shells, and could not connect them. What the state wanted this to say, this is the murder weapon. What it actually said is we cannot link this gun to the crime. So now add Exhibit 89, Connie Branham. This one hits even harder. Bullet fragments contain no markings for comparison purposes, meaning cannot match to a weapon and cannot identify a source. Chemical analysis did not reveal presence of any lead. No, none. No motive. Nope. That is not typical for traditional bullets. Lead is standard in most bullets, especially in the 1990s. Zinc-heavy fragments, unusual. And that's what they said they found was zinc. Translation, the bullet evidence cannot be matched, cannot be traced, and isn't even typical composition. Even worse, toxicology, CO testing not suitable, drug screen doxepin positive. So, cannot prove she died from the fire, CO test failed, no confirmed cause of death, and only a partial tox data. Stack everything together. Firearm evidence. Shells match each other. Gun does not match shells. Many items never were tested. Bullet evidence. Fragments cannot be matched. No identifying markings. Unusual composition. Fire death. No accelerant found. CO testing failed. Cause of death unclear. This is your strongest synthesis yet. There is no forensic bridge connecting the weapon, the shells, the fragments, or the cause of death. Hey, Angel Mom. They had a gun, they had shells, they had fragments, but they could not connect any of them to each other. Not one piece of physical evidence ties the weapon to the death. The legal impact here. This destroys any weapon identification, ballistic certainty, causation, change, prosecution narrative cohesion. It just blows it apart. What we have now is no longer just reasonable doubt. This is a broken forensic chain. The next ones I put in. Hey, welcome in. This next set are exhibits 91 through 94. Yes, we are literally fighting for Gary's life. Anybody have the link to the petition? It's justiceforgarywaynesutton.com. If you could put that in. I can't pin it. Mars Mom, Christina, I'm going to drop you for a minute so we can pin this for a second. We need to get this signed. Can someone put that in there, please, and I'll pin it up there. Hey, Mama T. After your live last night, I went down hours of rabbit hole to take apart the exhibits and put it in layman's terms, and we're up to exhibit 91 through 94 right now. Because after reading them, I wanted them to make sense to me in layman's terms. So tapping is clapping. Thank you, Barb. Is this a different petition than the original? The petition, the most important one, is the justiceforgarywaynesutton.com. And then there's the I just went blank. Yeah, if you don't care, type that in, Mama T, so we can pin that up. All the petition info. Or you can send me that picture you had and I'll put it up as a background like you did. Hey, Travesty Star, welcome in. Come on in. So this set of exhibits 91 through 94 actually tightens the contradiction even further, and you need to be careful here because this is where the state looks stronger on the surface but still breaks under scrutiny. Change.org. I went blank. Yeah, just go to change.org and search Gary's name on that one. But be sure you sign the one on justiceforgarywaynesutton.com. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you. So, Exhibit 91, the 303 rifle casings. There it is. There it is. Okay. Now we got it pinned. Somebody copy and repaste that every few minutes when it goes down, will you? It's only got 60 seconds. And if you haven't signed this petition, please go. And if you want more information about the case, there is an explanation about it there too. So the 303 rifle casings, what it says is there were multiple 303 cartridge casings from Creek Road, the Griffin residence, and other locations. These casings were fired in the same firearm. Important distinction, this rifle evidence, not shotgun evidence. The autopsy's cause of death was a shotgun wound to the head. So, rifle casings matching each other, but the rifle's not the murder weapon based on the autopsy. What's the point? Red herring? Why it matters? This creates parallel weapon activity. Rifle was fired somewhere, but the shotgun caused the death. Thank you, Tina. Those are two separate forensic tracks. Now, Exhibit 91, page 2, shells that do not match. This one is the most overlooked but powerful. Exhibits 20007590 and 20007591 bear no markings to link them. Translation. Shells from Griffin's residence, Dellinger's property, do not match the main shell group. That means there are multiple shotguns or multiple firing events, not one weapon or one clean narrative. This breaks the prosecution's theory. Instead of one gun, one event, you now have multiple shell populations. Exhibit 94, ATF report, very important. This is the federal level analysis. Shotgun shells, multiple, 6978s, 6984s, 6993s, 6994s, 7590s, etc., fired from the same shotgun. Rifle casings, 303, fired from a bolt-action rifle, which is in Exhibit 6992. This is where people get misled. At first glance, it looks like that they matched it all. But when you look closer, what they did not prove the shotgun was the murder weapon. They did not prove that Sutton fired it. And they did not prove the shells were fired during the homicide. And they did not prove the shells came from the same time or event. The biggest weak point, they say, shells have marks of possible value to identify this firearm. That is not a definitive match statement. It is inconclusive, and it's limited to comparison, like just comparison language. Even more important, from earlier exhibits, we already caught this. The shotgun recovered could not be linked to the crime scene shells. So important. So now you have a direct conflict. Exhibit 90, no match to recovered shotgun. Exhibit 94, shells match each other, but not clearly tied to the specific gun used in the crime. What this really means, they proved that some of the shells came from the same shotgun, but failed to prove which shotgun, who fired it, when it was fired, or that it was the one that killed the victim. And now stack everything again, updated. Weapons. Rifle identified but irrelevant to the cause of death. Shotgun not conclusively identified. Ballistics. Shell groups match internally. Multiple shell groups exist, and some shells don't match anything. No direct firearm match. No ballistic tie to Sutton. They proved guns were fired, but they never proved which gun killed him. Not a single weapon in this case has been forensically tied to the fatal shot. Not a single one. For conviction involving a shooting, the state would establish a weapon. They would link the weapon to the defendant, and then they would link the weapon to the victim. They only partially achieved number one, which was the weapon. And they completely failed at number 2 and 3, linking the weapon to the defendant or the victim. And so what you have now, which is very powerful, we have a broken weapon identification. We have conflicting shell groupings, no confirmed murder weapon, parallel weapons, rifle versus shotgun, and incomplete forensic testing. And this is now a full theory collapse. There is no longer just doubt. It is no coherent forensic narrative. Narrative only. The next move, which is high value. Let's see. I didn't go into that either. I just put another exhibit on. And this one, I had to copy and paste because I didn't have room to do it all. It says, this is the forensic style breakdown of what the TBI interview actually contains and why it matters for the Gary Wayne Sutton case. I'm going to strip it down to facts, timeline, inconsistencies, and investigative red flags. No fluff. This is the document. This is the document Davenport wrote out that Gary was supposedly giving him and stuff within 3 minutes from leaving his cell to getting back to his cell. But what this document is, it's a date of an interview dated February 25th, same day as events being discussed. Interviewing Gary Wayne Sutton, voluntary, not under arrest. Agent was Special Agent David Davenport with TBI, and the case is the homicide of Tommy Griffin. This is not a confession. This is a witness statement plus a timeline narrative. Hey, Glita. Hey, Janice, Shelley, come on in. It's 5 minutes. 11:40 a.m. in, 11:45 a.m. out. Which one? What's 11:40 in and 45 out? You want to come up, huh? Are you working? Core timeline from Sutton's own word. 5 minutes because timestamp shows he was in the cell. And okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. Hey, girl. The core timeline from Sutton's own words. Morning, day, February 24th. Sutton plus James Griffin plus Tommy Griffin. Drinking all day. Started at 9 a.m. Driving around the mountains, Puggy's Pool Hall, and store near Maryville, Townsend, likely a Citgo. Critical event. The girl at the store. Unknown female approaches them, asks for smoke or snort rugs. Tommy, let me see, Mars mom. Tommy claims he can get them, gives her an X, and leaves with her. Last time Sutton sees Tommy alive. Description of girl. Short, about 4'6" to 5 foot, 175 pounds, dark hair, straight, glasses, local accent, driving a small older Ford Falcon type, dark color, blue or black, possible others in cars. Shadows were seen. Thank you for tapping, Aixa. Later that evening, Tommy ends up in Blount County Jail. Charge unclear, possibly public intoxication. Sutton and James go bail him out. The girl is waiting outside the jail. This is huge. She tracks him from the store to the jail. Thank you for the heart me. Hey, Marianne. And she's still with him after he gets released. He leaves with her. After the release, Tommy, who's still intoxicated, leaves again with the same girl. Thank you for all the goodies, Aixa. I appreciate you. Every little bit helps. It all adds up. Thank you so much. Second and final departure. Same night, Tommy's trailer burns down. Later that night, calls between Connie, the sister, and Boyd, a relative, reports Tommy missing and confusion about his whereabouts. Next day, body found near River Walland area, a remote road off the highway. Major investigative red flags. The unknown girl appears out of nowhere, initiates a rug conversation, takes the victim twice, was present at jail, disappears after. This is a classic setup or lure scenario. Number 2, drug trafficking claims. Sutton repeatedly states Tommy used to transport rugs hidden in his leg, connected to Bobby Floyd, airport activity, and possible recent rug bust. This introduces motive, snitch suspicion, organized activity, and third-party actors. Third, narc accusations. Tommy accused of being an informant, family members saying he's a narc. Sutton denies it but repeats the rumor. This is a classic homicide trigger in rug circles. 4, family violence plus chaos. Repeated beatings, rug use, annex in extreme amounts, threats, trailer shooting incident mentioned, sister allegedly looking for a gun the same day. So multiple potential suspects were introduced, but none verified. The fire plus murder same night. The trailer burns, the victim disappears, the body's found the next day. Possible staging, intimidation, or evidence destruction. Sutton's condition. He admits drinking all day, too intoxicated, and has memory gaps. Reliability of timeline is questionable. Behavioral analysis of Sutton. Important. What he does. He talks freely. He volunteers theories. He provides detailed narrative. And what he does not do is place himself with the victim at the time of death, admit to conflict with him. We're in boxes. We can't do it in boxes. Show intent or motive. Notable patterns. Shifts blame toward drug dealers, victims' family, and repeated rumors as beliefs. This reads as a cooperative but unreliable witness, not a direct perpetrator narrative. No, it's all right. No, if we need to pin it, we can drop down and come back up. Gary loved his best friend and took out care for him. Yes, Gary is a victim and lost his best friend too. And so now, when we stack things up, look at this. No physical evidence mentioned. No weapon discussion tied to Sutton. No timeline placing Sutton at the murder scene. No corroboration of the drug theory. No identification of the girl. no verification of jail timeline, no forensic link. Why this document matters for Sutton's case, and this interview shows, the state's early theory direction: drugs, informant retaliation, third-party involvement. But also, investigation started with multiple suspects and multiple theories, not centered on Sutton initially. You too, Gleda, I love you. Thank you for coming in. Just trying to save a man's life who's going to be put to death December 3rd if we don't do something. It's that book that I wrote. It's the man in that book I wrote, Gary Wayne Sutton. The biggest takeaways, being blunt, is the unidentified girl is the last confirmed link to the victim. Drug trafficking angle dominates Sutton's narrative. Multiple alternative suspects exist, including family and drug dealers. Sutton places himself outside of the murder timeline, and no direct evidence against Sutton appears in this statement. Yeah, no. Thank you, Gleda. That's what this phone number is Governor Bill Lee in Tennessee to advocate for him. This document supports reasonable doubt, alternate suspects, investigative gaps, and failure to identify key witnesses. The girl, the one who was last with him. Okay, and then the next set are these. Key findings from Exhibits 100 through 106. Exhibit 106 is phone records from South Central Bell, dates February 22nd to March 3rd in Maryville, Tennessee and Newport, Tennessee. There was a notable pattern. Multiple calls to a number ending in 3320 in Maryville on February the 22nd at 1:13 a.m., 3:54 a.m., and 12:56 p.m. Later calls shift to a Newport number on February the 28th at 9:48 p.m., on the 29th at midnight 03, and on March 3rd at 11:08 a.m. Now, why this matters, clustered early morning calls from 1 to 4 a.m., not casual behavior. Same number repeatedly dialed, likely a key contact. Geographic shifts from Maryville to Newport right after February the 22nd. Hey, Jazzy, thank you. I appreciate you, girl. This suggests movement plus communication coordination immediately around the critical timeline. Exhibit 104 is a TBI lab request. It's dated February the 21st through the 22nd. Victims: Connie Branham, burned car. Tommy Griffin found roadside, head wound. Evidence submitted: 303 rifle casings, 12-gauge shell casings, and shotgun shells. Request: compare casings from crime scene, victim's car, and other recovered shells. What matters? Multiple weapon types involved: rifle 303 and shotgun 12-gauge. That's not a simple single weapon homicide. It implies either multiple shooters or staged, complex scene dynamics. Exhibit 100, search warrant affidavit. Critical details. Mentions a 12-gauge shotgun shell, Remington Peters brand. Timeline detail. Fire at a residence around 7:35 p.m. Arrest of Gary Sutton shortly after at approximately 11:25 p.m. What matters? The affidavit is tying the fire, the weapon, and Sutton, but relies heavily on sequence narrative, not direct forensic link. This is foundational probable cause, but not proof. Exhibits 102 to 103. Tommy Griffin arrest. DUI public intox. November of 91. Cook is at Cocke County, Newport. Officer notes: smell of alcohol, slurred speech, unsteady. What matters? establishes background on Griffin, not the homicide itself. Likely used influence jury perception, undermine victim credibility. This is character evidence, not crime evidence. Thank you, Mississippi Mudflapper. I appreciate you being here that long. Thank you. And thank you all for keeping the chat going. Just stop me if you have questions. Just put comments in there. And thank you for keeping the petition linked in there. Exhibit 101, prior charges, 1991, DUI, reckless driving, fines and costs. What matters, again, it's prejudicial context, not tied to the crime. It builds a narrative around individuals rather than the facts of the murder. Big picture analysis, timeline tension. Phone calls spike February the 22nd, early a.m. Crime window listed February 21st or the 22nd. These calls may be closer to the event than the prosecution timeline suggests. Multiple weapon problem. With the rifle 303 and the shotgun 12 gauge raises critical questions. Where are the ballistic matches? Who possessed which weapon? And were all weapons actually used in the event? We already know they were not tied to the crime scene. Heavy reliance on narrative versus the forensics. The affidavit builds a story. The lab request shows testing needed, but no results. There's a gap between the request for comparison, and that doesn't mean that there was a confirmed match if they just requested a comparison. The background, DUI intoxication records introduced. This is classic, shaping the perception of the jury, distracting from the evidentiary weaknesses. Movement plus communication pattern. Maryville to Newport transition. Repeated calls to the same number. Suggests coordination and possible other involved parties not fully explored. What it could mean for Sutton's case strategy, from a wrongful conviction perspective, these exhibits open several attack angles. Reasonable doubt anchors, multiple weapons, unclear shooter or shooters, no direct forensic conclusions. Phone activity suspects and suggests a broader network. Investigation gaps. Who owns the number ending in 3320? Did they ever find out? Why were there repeated early morning calls on the day of the incident? And were those contacts investigated or did they testify? Narrative weakness. Affidavit leans on circumstantial sequencing. Background records used to bias rather than prove. And the next set. This batch, exhibits 107 through 114, is where it gets much more forensic and procedural and, frankly, more problematic for the state's narrative. Exhibit 109, chain of custody, and this is big. What was recovered? Wadding from Tommy Griffin's head, 2 pellets plus wadding from the head, 12 gauge shell holes, Remington Peters brand shells, items from Manning Lane, which was the primary scene, and Dellinger's property and Angel Gray Yard, secondary locations. Major red flags. Evidence moved repeatedly across agencies between Blount County Sheriff, TBI Lab, Asheville Police Department for latent prints, ATF Lab in Rockville, Maryland, Oak Ridge Defense Expert. This is not a clean chain. It is traveling evidence file. Multiple exams equal same conclusions. Carmen, TBI, examined. Defense expert Blake, examined. ATF Joe Mason, examined. Language says same findings as Carmen, but it never states a definitive match to a weapon tied to Sutton. Critical forensic limitation. Only had a few pellets, only found 2 pellets, wadding, and shell holes. Shotgun ballistics cannot uniquely identify a specific gun like a rifle can. That means, at best, class characteristics, not individual weapon identification. Evidence left and returned repeatedly. No items left, returned same day, all returned to Blount County. This sounds clean on paper, but in court, more transfers equal more opportunity for contamination, mislabeling, and doubt. Exhibit 109, page 1, scene evidence, recovered. Where do I find the drop downs? It's in the, when you mean the drop downs, what do you mean? Do you mean the drop box? All of the exhibits? I had to give Carolyn my email to get, I had to give Carolyn my email and Mama T my email to get it. Let's see, they recovered 12 gauge holes at the burn barrel, in the yard, and on Manning Lane scene. What matters? Shells are found in multiple locations. This reinforces not a single contained crime scene, movement, or multiple discharge locations. And Exhibit 108 is a trial exhibit log. This is what the jury actually saw. Key items listed here were photos of a burned trailer, a burned car, the remains, tire prints, shell casings, shotgun shells, map of Sevier and Blount counties, phone records, and statements from multiple people. Critical observations. To be supplied appears multiple times. Hey, Wilhelm. Statements, logs, and evidence items. That means some evidence was incomplete or not present when listed. Mix of physical and narrative evidence. Physical have the shells and the photos. Narrative was the statement and the logs. Heavy reliance on interpretation, not science. Items like drawings by Gary Sutton. That's psychological framing, not forensic evidence. Exhibit 107, additional phone records. Continued billing page confirms Newport call and Maryville operator assisted call. And why it matters? It reinforces communication activity across the locations, and still no clear explanation who was called or why. Exhibit 112, vehicle record, Gary Sutton. Vehicle registered to Gary Sutton, Kodak, Tennessee. Importance, likely used to place him geographically or connect to movement. But registration does not equal presence at a crime scene. Exhibit 114 is a handwritten note. It reads essentially, brown paper bag marked TBI lab number 921021163 is noted on the bag in clear view of myself as not admitted at Sevier County trial. This is critical evidentiary issue, and what it means is an item was identified, was visible, but not admitted into evidence. When I made my call today, I made sure to let the governor know that this is asking for him to. Mississippi, good. To know the state is watching, good. Thank you. Not admitted into evidence. Why? Okay, so this brown paper bag is marked. Good. TBI lab number 921021163 is noted on the bag in clear view of myself as not admitted in Sevier County trial. The item was identified, was visible, but not admitted into evidence. Why it matters? It creates a serious question. What was in the bag? Why was it excluded? Was it exculpatory, inconsistent, improperly labeled? Good. We need all states in here. This is exactly the kind of thing that becomes the Brady issue if suppressed, or evidentiary integrity issue. So I'm wondering if that was addressed in the Brady already. Putting it all together, I'm going to take a picture of that. So I can go back and look that up so I won't forget. Putting it all together, forensics do not tie cleanly to Sutton. Be sure to mention Michigan. Thank you. No definitive weapon match, only shotgun class evidence. Crime scene is fragmented, evidence from multiple locations and multiple recovery times. Chain of custody is complex and vulnerable, with multiple agencies, multiple transfers, and repeated testing and lack of testing. Evidence gaps such as not admitted item exit 114 or to be supplied entries in exit 108. Thank you, Piffle Sniff. Thanks for being here. The narrative fills the gaps, the statements, the background info, the visuals, instead of hard forensic links. High impact argument. They had shells, but no gun tied to Gary Sutton. They had movement, but no proof he fired anything. They had evidence, but even some of it wasn't even allowed in court. And the strongest leverage points would be no individual ballistic match, multiple location evidence confusion, chain of custody complexity, unadmitted evidence, Exhibit 114, incomplete exhibit list to be supplied. And then I jumped over to this, like the car reconstruction. This exhibit is quietly one of the most important in the entire file, not because of what it says, but because of what it fails to document. Exhibit 121, Vehicle Fire Report, Investigative Engineers. What this is, a fire investigation worksheet template for a burned vehicle. It's designed to document the fire origin indicators, damage patterns, possible accelerants, entry points, and heat effects. An immediate critical observation, this form's initially blank. Just essentially blank. There's no VIN number, no vehicle details, no scene location, no investigator name, no findings, no checked indicators, no written conclusions. Look, the whole thing, and I opened the whole thing, but the whole thing's blank. Why that matters legally and forensically, no documented fire origin analysis. This form is specifically built to answer, where did the fire start? But here, no origin is marked, no pattern indicators are checked, and that means no formal documented conclusion about how the vehicle burned. No accelerant indicators recorded. The checklist includes gas cap missing, burn patterns, heat buckling, melted glass. None of it's marked. So no documented evidence of arson indicators on this form. No forced entry or staging indicators. Forced entry was unchecked, window down unchecked. That matters because it speaks to whether the scene was staged or manipulated. Thank you, Tracy. No investigator attribution, no signature, no report author, and no date. In court terms, this document has almost no evidentiary weight as is. And what it suggests about the case, the burned vehicle is the key narrative piece from other exhibits. Burned car, burned trailer, victim connection. The fire likely plays into timeline, concealment theory, and destruction of evidence. But this report shows there is no properly documented fire investigation here. Thank you for the heart, me and the high bears. Thank you, hon. And you leveled up too. Thank you. Strategic implications, and this is where it gets serious. Was a real fire analysis ever completed? Possibilities, it was never done. it was done but not preserved, or it was excluded. If no origin is established, there's no proof of arson. That means the state cannot scientifically prove the fire was intentional, how it started, or who started it. If the fire is part of their theory, then this becomes a speculative narrative, not a forensic conclusion. I've got them mixed up. A little bit here, a little bit there. This one is about Connie. So, you brought in a fire investigation form, but you didn't complete it? There's no origin, no cause, no investigator. And so you're asking the jury to assume how this fire happened without any proof. The bigger pattern across the exhibits, and this fits with what we've already seen, is the ballistics equal no definitive weapon match. The chain of custody is complex and fragmented. The evidence is moved around repeatedly. Exhibits are missing or not admitted items, and now the fire has no documented origin. So bottom line, this exhibit supports one conclusion. A key piece of the state's physical narrative, the burned vehicle, lacks documented forensic foundation. Lacks documented forensics. And then we go to these. This group of exhibits starts tying your case together in a very specific and very vulnerable way for the state. I'm going to walk you through what matters most and where the weaknesses are. Exhibit 127 is the missing persons report for Connie Branham. What it says, and the key facts pulled cleanly, are the date reported was 2/22 around 1300 or 1 p.m. Last seen leaving her mother's house, destination Maryville to find Tommy Griffin, vehicle. Yeah, there's, according to what's documented on the fire, there is no report. Look, it's just blank. The whole report is blank. I just did the top page, but all the pages are blank. So that's the fire investigating engineer's field report. And it fails to document anything. It doesn't have, it's blank. And so they add that into the timeline. The fire analysis was never done, or it was done and not recorded, or it was just excluded altogether. But that form that's admitted in there is blank. And so it's just a speculative narrative. No forensics to point to it. Now the next one's says it's very vulnerable for the state, and it tells it's the 76 Dodge Scamp, 2-door, black vinyl top, and a rusty brown color. Yeah. But the fire examiner, it just don't make sense that they wouldn't have done that. Still, how can you prove arson if you don't have that field report completed? How can you even say arson or charge if you don't know yourself at all what happened? Okay, and then they had her description. The critical detail most people miss is the report explicitly says she was going to find Tommy Griffin. That creates a direct link between the victim and Griffin, a timeline anchor before the crime scene events. What's off about this report, timeline versus known crime window. You now have February 22nd, 92 at 1 p.m. The smell. It never even says anything about a gas tank in the car, or the, are you talking about an extra gas tank or the car's gas tank? And I'm not sure what smell. They found, earlier we went across the reports and they found no accelerant either. Okay. Body later found from other exhibits. Fire evidence events follow. The gap is between last seen alive and confirmed death. It's where the entire case should be scientifically anchored. But we already saw a weak fire investigation, a shaky chain of custody, and questionable time of death basis. Vehicle description versus fire evidence in the earlier exhibit. We now have specific car description, but earlier fire report was blank, no origin and no cause. That's a major disconnect. They rely on a burned vehicle narrative, but never scientifically document the fire. No suspect behavior documented here. This is important. The report is clean. No accusations, no suspicious activity noted, just a missing person. That means initial investigation did not start with a clear suspect theory. In Exhibit 126, factors used to determine time of death. And this is where things get very serious. Listed factors: rigor mortis, early lividity, bright red blood, no early decomp, microscopic changes, lack of fluid accumulation, GI tract not softened. The problem: this is generic textbook criteria, not case-specific findings. There's no temperatures, no measured rigor staging, no lividity fixation documentation, no environmental factors, and no qualified analysis. There is not a forensic conclusion. It's a teaching slide guised as evidence. You got something, Margaret? You have a question? Exhibit 124, timeline diagram. This is likely a prosecution creative narrative timeline, and what it shows is February 21st through the 25th progression. I was going to pull it back here and show you. This is how they'd made their timeline thing. Okay. February 21st to the 25th progression. Alive, shot, body found. Rigor mortis references and autopsy references. And the major issue, this is interpretation layered on top of weak science. Because time of death is not scientifically established, see Exhibit 126. Okay, you're fine. Fire origin not established, Exhibit 121. Evidence movement is complex, Exit 109. Exhibit 109. Putting these together, and this is key insight, the state structure looks like this. Missing person, Exhibit 127. Timeline created, Exhibit 124. Time of death explained, Exhibit 126. Fire used as narrative support, Exhibit 121. But the foundation is weak. The element versus reality. The element is the time of death. Reality is not scientifically established. The element is a fire cause, not documented reality. Timeline element, built on assumptions, reality. Evidence flow element, complicated with breaks in reality. Most powerful argument emerging. The case relies on constructed sequencing, not measured forensic certainty. One line that cuts through everything. They did not determine time of death, they selected it. Police say they knew when she died, but their own evidence shows they never actually proved it. The Exhibit 126, the genetic factors, the blank fire report, and the timeline chart, instead of science, they built a story and they asked the jury to believe it. And I put Dr. Charles Harlan's curriculum vitae, and it just tells about him and his bullschnockies and forensic reliability issues. He's discredited and reevaluated and used in appeals and post-conviction relief efforts. He was inconsistent with the time of death. He based his opinions on photos instead of directly examining the body. His conclusions were not supported by histology or environmental data or standard forensic methodology. Hey, Samantha, welcome in. Relevance to Sutton. In Sutton's case, Harlan did not rely on strong physical evidence. Hey, Bernie. Used interpretive methods such as the photos of the slides and contributed to a timeline that is now disputed. Dr. Harlan was a state forensic pathologist who lost his license and was convicted of fraud, and whose forensic opinions have been repeatedly challenged. The timeline that sent Gary Wayne Sutton to death row came from a doctor who later lost his license and was convicted of fraud. So then I did this little small exhibit next. It's a small exhibit, but it's not harmless. It's actually one of those documents that can quietly undermine credibility depending on how it's used. Exhibit 129 is a medical note. Dr. Michael H. DeBoer, physician, located in Blunt Memorial Hospital in Maryville, Tennessee. Patient was Marjorie Barnes. Date 9/11/96. Entered into evidence June 23rd of 97. What the note says, patient has comminuted radius and ulnar fracture of the wrist requiring orthopedic evaluation. Translation. Comminuted fracture is bone broken into multiple pieces. Radius and ulna are both the forearms. Serious wrist, forearm injury, like falling down, I've done it, requires specialist or orthopedic care. I had to have pins. Why is this in the murder case? That's the first red flag. It has nothing to do with time of death, ballistics, fire investigation, or the crime scene. So it's here for only one reason: to support or attack a witness. Two likely uses by the state was to explain a witness's condition. They may be trying to show someone was injured, that the injury affected memory, ability to act, behavior around the time of the events. Or to bolster credibility, sometimes prosecutors introduce medical records to make a witness appear vulnerable, generate sympathy, or explain inconsistencies. But here's the problem. This was from 1996. The crime was in 92. That's a 4-year gap. This creates a major evidentiary weakness. Unless clearly tied, this is not contemporaneous, not probative of events in 1992, and potentially irrelevant or prejudicial. Legal forensic angle, this kind of document raises relevance issues. Does the injury relate to the crime? Or is it just being used to influence perception? Timeline issue. Why introduce a post-crime injury? Foundation issue. Who is Marjorie Barnes in relation to the case? Anybody? What role did she play? Strategic insight. This is key. If this is being used to support testimony, you can challenge it with, this injury occurred 4 years after the crime. There's no medical link to the events of 92, and this doesn't establish any fact relevant to the offense. The bigger pattern you're seeing here across all of these exhibits is weak forensic foundation, no time of death, weak fire analysis, complex chain of custody, now questionable relevance evidence. That's not random. That's what happens when a case is built to support a conclusion, not derived from evidence. One line hit for your content, it says, when the science didn't hold up, they started introducing things that didn't even happen at the time of the crime. And the next ones are these. This is one of the most important exhibits you've shown so far because it deals with a custodial statement plus waiver, which is often where cases are won or lost. Exhibit 132, waiver plus interview of Gary Wayne Sutton. That's what I was thinking that other one was. Page 1, waiver of rights. What it claims. Agency TBI and Sevier County Sheriff's Department on March the 9th of 92 at 11:40 a.m. at Sevier County Jail have this statement. I have initiated this conversation with law enforcement. I do not want David Webb present. I am willing to talk without an attorney. Immediate red flags. 1. I have initiated this conversation. This is critical language. Law enforcement is trying to establish that this was not an interrogation. It was a voluntary contract. Why it matters? Because if they initiated, Miranda protections tighten. Named attorney rejection, David Webb. I do not want David Webb present. Tells you he already had legal representation awareness, possibly had already spoken to counsel. That raises, was he advised properly beforehand? Why document rejecting a specific attorney? Handwritten addition. This isn't a clean, pre-printed waiver. It's altered, it's supplemented, it's narrative-driven, which weakens its reliability. Page 2 through 6, TBI interview narrative, now is where it becomes very revealing. What Sutton actually says, condensed. He initiated contact, per the report. He says he felt locked up for something he didn't do, and he has never killed anyone. Timeline he gives Friday through Saturday, the 21st through the 23rd, with James Dellinger drinking, driving around at his house at Dellinger's in a Camaro with one headlight out. Key statements. Did not see Dellinger kill anyone. Last saw victim when he left after searching for Tommy. Left her alive. Denies involvement in shooting, killing, or burning trailer. Admits only target shooting at Dellinger's house and being present in the social scene. This is not a confession, let's be very clear. This statement is exculpatory and not incriminating. But here's the catch. And it's where cases get twisted. Statements like this are often used to lock in a timeline, so later they can say his story didn't match the evidence. Place him at key locations, even if no crime proven there or the timeline's flawed. Associate him with the other suspects, such as Dellinger, Griffin, and so forth. Major weaknesses in this statement. No signed waiver confirmation. You see this line? He did not sign the waiver. That's huge. That means no formal written waiver, only claimed verbal understanding. Custodial environment. He is in jail. He's already detained and already under pressure. Courts scrutinize this heavily. Investigator written narrative. This is not a recording. It's not a transcript. It is someone else writing what they claim he said. No verbatim quotes. Everything is paraphrased. That allows interpretation, bias, and selective inclusion. Strategic analysis. This is the real takeaway. The document is being used to place Sutton in proximity, anchor a timeline, and associate him with the others, but it does not prove his involvement. It does not prove his knowledge of a crime, nor does it contain a confession. Critical contradiction to the state's case from this document. Sutton denies killing, denies seeing a killing, and denies involvement in a fire, places the victim alive after his interaction, which directly conflicts with their constructed timeline, their forensic assumptions, and their theory of events. Those words, constructed, assumptions, and theory. Most powerful attack point. The only statement they got from him, he denied everything. And they didn't even get him to sign it. They say he confessed, but their own documents show he never did. They wrote the story, and he didn't ever agree to it. This exhibit helps the state only superficially, but undermines them legally and factually if somebody challenged it correctly. Thank you, Modesta. I appreciate that. And then this one, Exhibit 134, is quietly one of the most damaging to the state's narrative, not because it proves guilt, but because it shows how the story was being shaped in real time. Breaking it down precisely, it's Exhibit 134, Investigator Notes, March the 5th of 92. Appears to be handwritten by investigator, likely Detective Mark Turner. Not a verbatim statement, it's a summary narrative. This actually says Sutton was advised. Yeah, true. He did not have to make a statement. Key points were Sutton was advised he did not have to make any statement. That's standard, but immediately followed by, I told him to do some soul searching. That's a psychological pressure, not neutral advisement, for one thing. Hey, Cricket. Right. Sutton's position, again consistent, he says he did not realize he could be charged. The victim, Tommy and Connie, were friends, and he was with Tommy and James Dellinger. This matches his later statement in Exhibit 132. The girl in the car narrative, hey, unknown female in dark blue black Ford Falcon, asked where she could get some stuff. Tommy left with her after he was released from jail. A second time he left with her. That was the last time they saw him. And just go back to the point that he had dried blood on his left ear when he was in jail after being with her the first time. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Introduction of a drug narrative on page 2 accuses him of being a narc, drug dealers, ripped off cocaine. This is huge. This introduces motive theory, drug-related, third-party suspects, and conflict outside of Sutton. Timeline activity on Saturday. Riding around Walden and Townsend area, met Connie Brenham, looking for Tommy, went to places he had been the night before and couldn't find him. Again, this supports search behavior, not concealment. What's really happening here, and this is not just notes, this is narrative construction in progress. Major problems with this document. It's not a statement, it's an interpretation. It's not signed by Sutton. It's not recorded. It's not verbatim. Hey, Queen. It's investigator-controlled language. Thank you. Thank you so much. Leading psychological influence, do some soul searching, is suggestive, guilt-oriented, and a coercive tone. Selective inclusion, notice, includes drug rumors, includes conflicts, includes associations, but no corroboration, no sourcing, and no verification. Shut up. Reinforces same consistent denial, even here. Sutton does not confess. He does not place himself at the murder, and he does not admit knowledge of the killing at all. Critical pattern, and this is what matters across the exhibits now. Exhibit 132, the TBI interview. Exhibit 134, investigator notes. Same themes. He was with others. He saw the victim alive. He denies the killing, and he describes third-party involvement possibilities. Why it's powerful? It shows early statements, no confession, and alternate theories present from day one. I don't, but I'm close. I'm on the Kentucky-Tennessee line. It's a couple hours from me. Hey, Melissa, come on in. Thank you, Angie, for tapping. Thank you all for keeping the chat rolling and the taps a going and all the things. Don't forget, we have people up here in the live goal today that may not be in the room anymore. They put their name there so that if they had to leave, you could connect with them. And anybody with a number in this part is engaging in the room. You know they're real. And there's some in the gift gallery that you need to pick up that aren't in here if you don't have them. If you have a number by your heart, those are your points. Pick those up. Those are for you. They say you engaged. Most important strategic angle, the state cannot say he changed his story later because this early document matches later statements all the way to this day. This document introduces drug activity, other suspects, and conflict with others, but the state ultimately narrows the case onto Sutton. That creates a massive argument. They ignored their own early leads. Before they built their case, they were writing their theories. Thank you for the club powers. Thank you so much. He says soul searching. He shows them a narrative. He knows of the unknown female. He knows and shows the timeline. And through all of it, Gary never confessed. This exhibit does not strengthen the state, actually documents investigative bias forming. Documents it. Confirms Sutton's consistent denial and introduces the alternate suspects and motives. So the next exhibit is 135. It says, good, this one matters, but for a very specific reason. This is essentially a cleaned, typed, recopied version of Exhibit 134. Same date, 3/5/92, same narrative structure, same content flow. In legal terms, this is not a new statement. It's not new evidence. It's a duplicate narrative record likely prepared for file, court, or prosecution use. And it was like handwritten again. Exactly. This is essentially the clean typed recopied. There's not a statement, not an evidence, and not anything. Let's see. So even though it's repetitive, it confirms narrative was formalized. It isn't rough notes anymore. It's organized, rewritten, and preserved as an official version. And it means the investigators took the initial interpretation in Exhibit 134 and converted it into a more official narrative in this one. It creates a legal vulnerability because now you have step 1 was raw notes, step 2 clean narrative, but neither is recorded, not signed by Sutton, and not verbatim. It means it's hearsay layered on top of hearsay. You're okay. Officer memory, rewritten later date, presented as what Sutton said. Subtle but critical issue, wording control. When something gets rewritten, language gets tightened, tone gets adjusted, emphasis gets chosen. So the question becomes, did Sutton say this, or did the investigator frame it this way? What stays consistent and helps, even in the cleaned up version, there is no confession, same timeline, same denial, same third-party elements, same girl in the car, and same drug narrative. What this actually proves, the state's own documents show Sutton's story never changes. No admission of guilt, alternative explanations present very early on. But here's the real leverage. Having both 134 and 135 lets you argue they did not document what he said. They documented what they believed. Chain of distortion argument. Thank you, Samantha. You can now show Sutton speaks unrecorded. Officer interprets on 134. Officer rewrites his interpretation on 135. And the state presents it as fact. That is not reliable evidence. Strong courtroom or content angle. They wrote it down twice, but never recorded it once. You believe shutdown. And somehow that became the truth to them. Advanced insight, and this is big. The presence of both exhibits suggests they were building a case file narrative early, not documenting facts. Bottom line, Exhibit 135 adds no new facts, but strengthens our argument about narrative shaping, lack of a reliable statement, and investigative bias being formed. He was. I said next are the transcripts, and they're too long. Also, here's some pics I couldn't put in there. And we'll go back in there, and we'll go back in with the transcripts and do all of this too. Yes, call the governor, option 1, and sign the petition. Thank you, Samantha, for the heart me. Testimony matched what was written, or did it evolve again? This is where the case flips. Transcripts often expose experts walking things back, prosecutors leading, witness uncertainty that never got highlighted. We already have chain of custody issues, narrative shaping, and weak time of death indicators. And now the transcripts, when we get into them, will expose the contradictions or how the state papered over them. And it says to be on the hunt for, I can say with certainty, or based on photographs, or it would be consistent with, or I don't recall, or possibly, or could have. Those destroy certainty. Buried in the transcript is where the truth slips out. So I'm going to be dropping those in batches too. I tried to get a printable PDF of all of this, but it only gave me the summary. But that completes what I worked on last night. That's the end of it until I get further into it. Anybody got any questions or comments before I close out? Because it is time for Barbara, and I'm over. I'm late, and we got to go tap Barbara to 10K. Thank you guys for being here. If you have any questions, write them down, and we'll be going over them again tomorrow with more info. Love you guys. I'm going to drop you, disconnect all. I'm going to change this goal to where it's met. I do too, 100%. No doubt in my mind. Especially knowing Schmutzer and Davenport were involved in the airplane in Sevierville Airport that was the 600-pound cocaine bust years prior to this. You know, they're involved in all of this, in my opinion. They did. They erased his life and abruptly and totally messed up his family's life and his child. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, that they got away with this, and they're still willing to put him to death over all of this unproven. It's just sad. They need to understand what that means. It's murder is what that means. They're willing to murder him. In my opinion, that's what this boils down to. And if the governor doesn't step in, his blood's on his hands too. And if he's not looking at it, he cannot claim ignorance on this with as many phone calls as we've had. I've emailed. I've got to find that letter because I got to do another one. Me too, Cricket. I have been ever since I got the first part of the story. And then when I read Framed in the Smokies, I got deeper into it. And if you need that, you can buy it at the Zon, and you can go to my YT. I have 2 readings of it. One, it includes the legal documents in the book, and the next one I just omitted the legal documents. And then there's a one with Gary on Tuesday Night Live at Carolyn's, and I forget what the other one is, but if I had a way to download all of these, like today, I can do it. But like, I wish Mama T would have her copies of her lives on YT so that we can go back and see where she's reading the transcripts out loud. You are. Anyway, we need to get it all. Oh, and Tracy Ellis has a link tree in her bio with a lot of the links and connections and stories and the petitions, and where you can get merch, Gary shirts, or it tells her where you can get my book, where you can get all her books. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time around. You all have an amazing day.